chickadees! Happy hump day. We made it through half of the week. And today, Ms. Demeanor's wig has taken a toll on everything that's happened today. It's been quite a day. It isn't really a wig. I think you all remember the whole Donna Adelson mix-up and everything. It's really my hair. But boy, oh boy, it's been quite a day. As I predicted this morning in my TikTok video, that I felt the Commonwealth may rest in the Brian Walsh trial today. And guess what? They did. The Commonwealth rested. I was a little shocked, a little surprised by that. Didn't see that coming. I thought we would maybe get some more law enforcement, but that's all. I don't know what's going to happen coming up. I think there's a very strong possibility this trial, as far as evidence and everything, could be done by Friday afternoon. But I think there's a half a day coming somewhere in there. But I definitely see this case being wrapped up long before Christmas. So I want to make sure that I say hello to all of you fine people that have joined this evening. Hello, KS Granny. And Kelly is with us. Tracy, Ava, and Melissa. Thank you all so much for joining this evening. Oh, KS Granny, do I think that Brian Walsh will testify? I don't think he will, but I'm praying that he does. Like, literally, I'm like, please, 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 please. Because I mean, I might have to take a day off work just to watch that testimony, if that happens. But I don't think he's going to do it. I think I'm going to be sadly disappointed. So make sure, if you're on the replay crew, that you drop me a comment. And everybody, remember to do the YouTube things, like, subscribe, and let's not forget the QR code. You can use that QR code and get all things Ms. Demeanor there. It will take you to my X. It will take you to my, or as I call it, the Twix, my YouTube, TikTok, Venmo, Cash App. And when I can sell merchandise, we'll have some things there. So make sure that you do all those things, like, subscribe, notifications on, share, all that stuff. Now that I've said all of that, it's kind of ironic because last night in our little replay of the trial, the state rested as well. A little foreshadowing there, do you think? So 2 witnesses. The first one was our favorite beast of a woman. She is what my dad would say, and I have to tell you all, in the kindest way. If anybody called me this, I would absolutely take it as a compliment. My dad would say, that woman right there, she's a broad. Being a broad means you don't get pushed around. You're principled. You're loyal. You're fierce. You're all those things. That was Rita, our lovely Rita, last night. And then her sister testified. And I feel like her sister kind of held her own too. But clearly Rita is the magic in that family. So we have had 2 defense witnesses put up, and we're waiting. This is now, I got to consult my notes here, day 8, part 1. So everybody can hear. Make sure you have your snacks. Make sure you have your drinks. Oh, because this is normally Wine and Crime Wednesday night. That's right. Get your drinks. Make sure you've got what you need. I've got my fan favorite. Oh. Dr. Pepper Zero. That's my favorite. So let's do the thing, shall we?
We probably need to get him a gavel and let him strike once. I will give you, this isn't really law school, this is just information. But by and large, the number of strikes when they open court indicates the number of judges on the bench. If they strike, then they open.
What is already happening?
If they strike 5 times, Tennessee Supreme Court. The exception is, I think, and I haven't checked on it, but I've had the pleasure to be in the audience.
What are we doing?
I was introduced as a member of the bar. I don't think they strike 9 times, but generally the number of strikes has to do with the number of judges. Okay?
Thank you so much for that lesson in gavel pounding.
Hearsay, 404B, discovery, and now the number of strikes and opening the court. So, all right, we're ready to continue.
I was ready to continue like 2 minutes ago.
All right, call your name.
Terry Dicus.
Oh, did we hear who it is? Y'all heard that, right? Terry Dicus.
I do.
Oh, boy.
Terry Dicus, Terrydicus.
And Mr. Dicus, how are you currently employed?
I'm an attorney in Savannah, Tennessee.
And on April the 13th, 2011, how were you employed at that time?
I was a criminal investigator assigned to the 24th Judicial District. I was assigned to Hardin, Decatur, and Benton counties.
And an investigator with which entity?
Tennessee Bureau of Investigation.
Okay. And just to be clear, you were the case agent on this case?
Yes, ma'am. I was the original case agent.
Okay. And how many years were you the case agent?
From April 13th, 2011 until sometime in June of 2013, so a little over 2 years.
Okay. And when you left, what did you go to do?
Did you say June 2015?
No, Your Honor. I said June 2013, a little over 2 years, 2011 to 2013.
Now, in investigating this case, I'd like to direct your attention first to the investigation of Mr. Adams, since we're here today in his case. Did you, in fact, investigate Mr. Adams as part of your investigation of the disappearance of Holly Bobo?
I did.
Okay, and what were the facts that you investigated? What were the leads that you followed? Will you please just tell the jury?
Zach Adams, his name came up very early in the investigation.
I just have to ask you all if you think, as a juror, because all of my fellow chickadees here are jurors, would you not be sitting in the jury box asking yourself, I wonder why the lead case manager is testifying for the defense? That's odd. Because I know I'm sitting here thinking, oh my goodness, I can't believe that you would have the lead case agent. Why wouldn't they have just done it on the prosecution side? I don't understand. I'm here for it. Don't get me wrong. Spill the tea, Terry. Let's go.
The first time that I remember.
Can you speak a little more into the microphone?
Yes.
Move the microphone closer to you, if you will.
Well, the first time that I remember Mr. Adams' name coming up was about the first week of the investigation. So I sent 4 FBI agents, 2 TBI agents, and a dog team from the Shelby County Sheriff's Department to go out to a friend of his, Shane Austin. He went out to Shane Austin's house. We had information on all these. They're a little clique, the Adams, Autry, and Austin. They were supposedly together that day. So I believe that's the first thing that came up with Shane Austin. So they went out there and they interviewed him. They ran dogs through his trailer to see if these were cadaver dogs that supposedly can tell the scent of human decomposition. So they go out to this house. They go out to Austin's house, check him out. I didn't actually meet any of them at the time. I was in the command post.
Okay. So when they went to the house, what did they discover there?
Well, it was a trailer. It was a mobile home on Yellow Springs Road. And by the time they went there, we'd already found, or we didn't find it, but a citizen in Decatur County had already found some items that we know were Holly's on this road, Yellow Springs Road in northern Decatur County.
Not the pink panties.
So that piqued our interest even more in Mr. Austin and this whole crew.
Okay. So when the the group, which investigators actually went to talk to Mr. Austin?
I can't tell you the name of the FBI guys because I'm not sure. I don't know it.
Okay,
I believe it was Joe Walker and Brent Booth that went to Austin's house originally, and Ricky M, the Decatur County investigator. So there was 8 total investigators that went to Austin's house there initially.
and what did they do at his house?
Well, they interviewed him. They got his story. They checked out his mobile home. The
When
dog.
you say checked out, what do you mean by that?
Well, they searched it. He gave them consent search, so they went all the way through his trailer. They noted that he had a rifle right there close to him, and he told them that he was a gun nut. So they talked to him, got his story,
A
found out
gun nut,
where he was at around the time of the kidnapping.
technical term.
And did they have a dog search team there also?
Yes, ma'am. That cadaver dog team that searched, they alerted to something, and it may have been not a cadaver dog, but a biological material dog, because it allegedly alerted to a sock that was somewhere in Austin's bedroom.
And what did they determine about that sock?
Well, they believe the sock was used as a rag, for lack of a better term, a rag to clean up biological material.
And what biological material? Did they reach a conclusion about what that sock had been used to clean up?
Semen, like
Ew.
clean up semen.
Ew.
And
Ew,
they
I
then
wasn't
asked
waiting.
Mr.
Your Honor, object to the hearsay.
I was
They-
not
but they
expecting
reached a
that.
different conclusion also about the semen.
Ugh.
Your Honor, object, this calls for speculation. It's some sort of scientific conclusion.
It's not.
Next question.
Okay, but there's something about that semen that then they didn't, and they weren't concerned about it being a rape. So what was it that they decided about that semen? Do you remember?
Okay, they determined that he was masturbating into a sock, and he was using it as a cum rag. Apologize for saying it. I don't know how to say it any different. But
Okay, just to be clear on what the.
Y'all, I'm so sorry.
Okay.
We're like
And,
15 minutes
then
into
he
this.
gave an alibi that
So
day, or gave
sorry.
a statement of what he was doing. Did you check into that?
I didn't personally at that time. I was ordered to stay in the command post at all times, so that stayed for several months that I was in the command center as everybody was coming in. You got to understand, Autry Adams. We had many Autry and Adamses coming in at the time. People were calling in and say, "You better check out my ex-boyfriend. He's mean. He could have done it." Okay, well that would be a lead that we'd have to follow and rule him out somehow. So there was a whole lot of information that was coming in, and I was compartmentalizing and prioritizing the information that was coming in to see what we do next.
Okay, so, but at some point, did the TBI check out his alibi?
Yes.
Okay, and then what else did you do about Mr. Adams to investigate Mr. Adams?
Mr. Adams, there was a trooper that Warren Rainey went and talked to Mr. Adams. I believe he was the first or one of the first to actually talk to Mr. Adams and check him out, see what he was doing. He came back and told some things that he noticed that were very strange, and saying y'all need to look a little further into it. So I believe it's the same group, and I don't know that I told them or they did it on their own. I believe they probably did it on their own. They went out and checked out Zach Adams. They interviewed him. They went through his house the same way. Did everything they needed to do.
And didn't the FBI go out to talk to Mr. Adams also?
I believe yes.
Okay.
Well, they did with me one time for sure, but I know they did around the time of the kidnapping as well.
Okay, and when was the first time when's the second time that Mr. Adams was interviewed?
I don't know. I can't tell you the date.
Okay, Ricky Inman, Ricky Inman actually interviewed Mr. Adams at some point, didn't he?
Correct.
And what was the result of that interview?
I believe that Mr. Adams told him essentially the same story that he had told before, that he was at home and with his brother and his girlfriend at the time, Rebecca Earp, and they woke up, they left and picked up Shane Austin that morning. Okay. Shane Austin, one of his buddies who didn't have a vehicle, and Zach's truck was supposedly tore up. So they went in Dylan's Chevrolet. They went in Dylan's Chevrolet, left where they live. They live on Adams Lane, which is northern Decatur County. They left sometime between 9 and 10 that morning. They pick up Shane Austin. when they pick up St. Austin, then they go up to the interstate where there's a gas station up there. They get gas, but gas is always high there. I agree with you. Gas is unbelievably high there. So they just put, like I believe, around $5 gas in the vehicle to go back to into Decatur County, into Decaturville, Parsons, where gas is much cheaper. So they're just putting it in right there to get them to another spot. And Adams said that at that time, Adams, Austin, and Dylan Adams all said that they noticed a wave of police cars coming down the interstate, a wave of black SUVs that were flying down the interstate. Zachary Adams.
Can I stop you right there? During this investigation, were you all able to obtain video surveillance from different businesses?
Yes,
Okay. And at one point, did you obtain some video surveillance from the Am Farm
I did.
business? I'd like to pass you some pictures.
Am Farm, you say?
Now,
That's
spend
where
a lot of time looking at the Am Farm video?
close to
Days.
Am Farm is where the
Days
cell
and
phone,
weeks.
Holly's cell phone was found.
Okay. And do you recognize these pictures right here?
Yes, these are pictures taken from the Am Farm, close the camera closest to the door. It's a perfect angle of the parking lot, but also in the background catches all traffic going south and north on 641.
Oh,
That's-
do tell.
That's what these pictures are.
Is it timestamped too? Because
Was
that'd
there
be
a time and date
just
stamp on the Am Farm
delightful.
videos?
Yes, ma'am.
And those pictures right there, what time and date stamp do they have?
The first one with the one black SUV is 1104, date 4/13/2011. Sorry. The second one, 1105/01, same date, 4/13/2011, the day of the kidnapping.
Okay. And Your Honor, I would like to have those two marked as exhibits.
215 and 216. Am I correct?
Yes.
Remember,
Everybody good? Let me know.
this
All right.
would be
Repeat the
when
First timeline, one that's first in time, that's the second in time.
this would be when the pictures or the video from the ATM would be really handy, and I would bet he would be the one to bring it in. Let's see if it comes in.
So, okay, and the first in time, and let's see, we have a pointer.
I don't want to see him. Yeah, show me the picture. Ah, well, there you go.
Right, and would you please point out the vehicle in there? What is that vehicle for the record? What does it appear to be?
That is a black SUV. I'm not sure exactly what kind. It's
Give me
a
the location of this photo again.
it is an Am Farm. It's a pharmaceutical company in
Okay,
Decatur County.
okay,
Yes.
okay.
Right there on this is Highway 641, Highway 69.
And is it closer to Parsons or closer to the interstate Am Farm?
It's much closer to Parsons. It's actually you're coming into Parsons right now as that vehicle is coming into the city limits of Parsons.
Okay. So in this picture, and I see a little tree in this picture, where is the truck in relation to that tree? The little tree in the landscaping?
The SUV,
Yes,
it's right here. This is the vehicle that you're asking about.
right. So is it before or after the tree?
It's after the tree.
Okay, so then if we move to the next picture. So in this picture, what do you see here?
Well,
It had a baby.
and it's tough to make out the kind of vehicles these are, but this is another SUV type vehicle that's right around a little, almost even with the tree, a little bit south of even.
Okay, so it's not past the tree yet.
That's correct.
And then what about the second vehicle there?
The second one is maybe 7 car lengths behind the tree.
And so you can kind of tell the distance that they're going perhaps by the timing between the two pictures. And how many parking spaces would you say are between those two cars?
I would say perhaps 5 or 6.
Okay. And did you know something about the TBI that day and what was going on in the Jackson TBI office?
Yes, a special agent with the Medicaid fraud unit was having a retirement party in Jackson.
Okay. And so what
Oh.
did that mean about about the SUVs? How did that relate to the SUVs?
Well, this guy, he had worked there forever with all kinds of different agencies. So a large portion of the responding officers, TBI, Secret Service, FBI. They were coming from Jackson to get to the scene of the kidnapping, 681 Swan Johnson.
So to you then, would it fit with what you knew about the TBI that there would be these 3 SUVs in a row?
Yes.
So I'd like to go ahead and just put those into, they're already in evidence.
Yes.
Move on. We can-
215 and 216.
Okay, and then did you also have information about the kind of car that Mr. Adams was in that morning? What car did he tell you he was in that day?
It was a extended cab Chevy Silverado, black in color, I believe.
Was it black?
I don't remember. I don't remember the color.
Okay. Dark. Would you say
Dark, might have been dark blue, dark
Okay.
green.
I'd like to pass another picture up to you.
It had Georgia license plates,
Okay.
if that helps you.
Well, were you able to see any license plates in the video?
No, ma'am. It's much too far away. And it's not the right angle.
And what does that appear to be a picture of?
That is a extended cab, probably either GMC or Chevrolet pickup truck.
Okay, and what time is that picture made?
11:07 and 24 seconds.
And I'd like to have this marked as my next exhibit. Your Honor.
217.
Do you recognize where that picture came from?
Yes, ma'am. It's the Am Farm video from the one closest to the front door.
Huh. Just imagine that. Ah, there it is.
And then I think for a few minutes, we're done with the overhead projector.
I'll back that up for y'all since I got a little excited with my
Okay.
Flippity
And then
flips.
I think for a few minutes, we're done with the overhead projector. Okay. Are there other things that you did to check out well, first of all, in your investigation, we've heard some about telephone records. What did you do to check out the telephone records?
The telephone records of,
Whose telephone records did you get copies of?
okay. The first thing we did with the telephone records is we got a tower dump for every cell phone in close to Decatur County. What a tower dump does is it tells you every bit of activity, whether somebody's receiving a call, making a call, or they're having a SMS message, anything. It tells you every bit of information for everybody in this area, which was larger than Decatur County. So that's the first thing I did. I got a search warrant for AT&T, Verizon, T-Mobile. I believe that's it. So we got all these search warrants. So we have all this data of if you were in Decatur County that day, we know where you were, where your cell phone was, if you used it at all.
And at some point, did you get records on Holly Bobo's cellular telephone?
Yes, ma'am. We got a search warrant for AT&T for her and everybody in her family for geolocate, which tells you where her phone is at a particular point in time.
Now, does it tell you exactly where a phone is?
It could, if this was a 3G network where they can triangulate, they'll tell you if you're using your phone, they can give you you're at 2800 Smith Road in Savannah. Decatur County at the time, and they have since upgraded, I believe, but at the time there were a 2G network, which basically is all they could tell you. A cellular tower has either 3 or 4 quadrants, and a quadrant has 120 degrees. So if they're telling you where the cell phone is, basically they're telling you the center point to that cellular quadrant, and they'll give you a confidence, how confident they are that this is accurate, of however many meters, 4,000 to 7,000. So it doesn't tell you exactly where it is, but you
A couple
piece it together
miles.
with looking at where her cell phone has been to make a good educated guess as to where her cell phone is at a certain time.
And did you all actually go to AT&T to get additional information about the cellular telephone network?
Actually, we had an engineer with AT&T come out to Decatur County, and he rode every road in Decatur County that had something, that was important to us. So when he's riding the roads, he's got a device where he can measure which tower at the point.
Sorry to interrupt. I'm going to check this one. He gave Mr. Dykes' own admission. He's not a cell phone expert like Mr. Brazell is. I think it was Mr. Brazell is a cell phone expert. So to the extent that his testimony goes into anything about cell phones,
How it operates or anything. He can set up that somebody's driven around and things like
Right.
that.
That's what I'm trying to just set up. So not to say exactly what the information was showing, but he was able to determine which tower the phone was hitting off of at different places in the road. Is that right?
That's correct.
And did you come up with a map that reflected that?
And here's what I think we need to hear from, like Mr. Brazell, a cell phone expert, who can explain to us what this map is.
Well, right now, Your Honor, I'm trying just to lay the groundwork for my.
Yeah,
cell phone
that's
expert to
not-
come in, so-
That's
and
not what
did you come
she's
up with a
getting.
map
Good
that-
grief.
That showed at what point this phone was.
A map!
Yeah, but that's a little misleading.
Okay.
That map shows which tower at a certain point is utilizing that cell phone. His device was telling him which tower, all the towers around Decatur County, the 4 or 5, which tower, if you're on this road right here, if you're on Cypress Hill Road, which tower are you going to be using? So that map shows which tower you're going to be using at this road. Now you drive 100 feet down the road, you may be on a different tower, but that's what that map did. That's the importance of that. We can tell each
That was
point.
actually a
on the
really
route,
good
each point on the
exercise to
potential
do.
route of where her cell phone would have been if it was here. Which tower would it have been hitting off of?
And also,
I like
you
it.
you got from AT&T a map that showed kind of the different cell phone towers and where the coverage of those cell phone
Another
towers
map?
was expected to be.
Correct.
It's a multicolored
Shut
map with that showed kind of where cell power signals faded in and out.
Yes, ma'am.
So then again, you were still talking about the cell phone records and with Holly's phone and how you got in the geolocates.
Yes,
I
ma'am.
interrupted you, so can you continue from there?
I don't. We got all our cell phone, so we get all this data. We also had some pings where the Decatur County Sheriff's Department, before I got there, they had already initiated a ping, which a ping is where the cellular provider is sending out a where are you signal to the cellular provider. So we had pings starting at 8:56 that morning. Well, 8:56 they actually had no location for, but we had several pings, maybe 4 or 5 pings that day that told us where her cell phone was within that cellular quadrant. Keep in mind, it tells you the center point. It doesn't tell you anything else. But that's what we had.
Okay, and I'd like to have these two maps just pass that and mark for identification purposes.
The 218, 219 right there.
I want to just pass those to you and see if do you recognize those as being the maps that were generated by AT&T.
Yes, ma'am. They were very familiar to me.
Okay, and the first one, the one that's actually when you were driving different routes,
The
that's
first
that's the one we'll have marked with the lower number.
Parsons Area 7.
Okay, is that what it says at the top?
Parsons Area 7/7/2011.
Okay.
No
So
shade
that
in
one
the
first,
chat
and then the second,
on products
The second
used
one, what
in
is
your
that one?
hair.
This one is a map indicating
No shade.
the coverage of all these towers.
we're not going to show
Oh.
the jury just yet, but
Sorry. This is a map showing the overlay of the coverage of the cell towers in Decatur County.
very good. Okay, and at some point, did you all get the cellular telephone records of Mr. Adams?
I believe so.
And in determining whether or not he had an alibi for any of that time, did you make any determination about that?
Well, there was one indication on his cell record within the tower dumps that showed at 8:28 a.m. he was hitting off the tower that's in the northeastern portion of Decatur County, which would cover northeastern part where his residence is.
And what time was that?
I believe it was 8:28.
Okay. And then what else did you determine? Did you compare that with something else in order to try to make a determination about his alibi?
Right. His cell phone at 8:28 is hitting off a tower that's several miles from the tower that Holly's cell phone was hitting off at 8:26 a.m. So 2-minute drive time.
That's a
there's
problem.
no way that Zach's cell phone could have been where.
I think we're getting into the findings.
That's something you have to
Well, but did you use that information then to make determinations in
Yes.
your investigation?
Right.
Okay. And what determination did you make at that time?
It's just a backdoor way of trying to get cell phone.
It's not a cell phone expert.
Right. But about Mr. Adams'
Back
alibi, what determination
door?
did you make about his alibi?
Way.
The determination I made is that he could not have been involved in the kidnapping.
And what about Rebecca? Or did you mention Rebecca earlier, his girlfriend?
Yes,
Okay. And did you speak with her?
I did.
When did you speak with her?
It's a big file. I believe it was the first time I spoke to her was probably sometime after July the 4th of 2011, because I talked to A-Train on July the 5th, 2011. So as part of
Yep, you say A-Train. Who are you referring to when you say A-Train?
Jason Autry.
Okay.
I spoke to him on July the 5th. These guys kept on coming up with for stupid reasons, saying, I'm going to put you end up like Holly. You do this. And okay, good. Let's get back on them. So we checked them out several times. Around July, I said, I'm going to check them out and ended it. So I talked to Jason Autry first with, I believe it was with my buddy Brent Booth and Joey Hudgens. We spoke to him at his mother's trailer. We left there. We spoke to Zach Adams and his brother Dylan at their house on Adams Lane. And then at the end, I called Rebecca Earp and I said, Miss Earp, you have given information to other people. I haven't talked to you yet. My name's Terry Dicus. I'm the case agent on this. I want you to think about this very carefully. I'm going to ask you a question. And if you lie to me, I'll make your life miserable. If you tell me the truth, I'm going to help you. And at that point, she said
Okay. So after you talked with her, what determination did you make?
that I was wasting my time
Wasting your time
Ah.
doing what?
investigating these idiots.
Okay.
I'm sorry, no offense.
these idiots, can you be more specific about these idiots?
I
Well,
love
these
the
idiots
fact
keep
you
on
said
saying, I'm going
that.
to put her in the well. And
Right, but who's, give names for the jury, please.
Jason Autry, Zach Adams, and Shane Austin, and Dylan Adams.
Did you have any special affinity for those 4 men?
No, I never met them before this case.
He just called them idiots.
And so
So
let's talk
I
about
don't
some
think
of the
there's
other
an
people that you
affinity.
investigated regarding this case, some of the other suspects that you had. Will you tell the jury, please, about John Dodd and what evidence you had that he might be a suspect in this case?
John Dodd, he's a troublemaker, is the information we had. Now I found him like a fairly likable young man, but he's a troublemaker. He'd done several things that I would classify as extremely mean and devious. He had actually tried to commit a theft at the Bobo house, and there were
So he would have been familiar with the Bobo house?
correct.
Okay.
And he also was seen in the area between 8:30 and 12, somewhere in there. There's several different witnesses that see him driving a 4-wheeler, up on 2 wheels, the way they explained it, just going crazy, getting around the corner.
And what day is
On
it?
a
On April
four-wheeler.
13th, 2011.
Okay.
Oh.
What other evidence did you have that pointed towards him? Did you use dogs in the situation?
We had dogs come down, and I love my dog, but I don't know how beneficial they are in law enforcement activities. But we had a dog that came out that alerted that the scent of Holly Bobo went towards his grandfather Grafton Dodd's house on, I can't think of the name of the road, but anyway, Grafton Dodd had a cabin north of the Bobos, probably 3 or 4 miles north of the Bobos, and these dogs supposedly alerted and said,
Excuse me, I assume Mr. Adams was there, and it sounds like.
I was there. I did go there. Yep.
Okay, they alerted.
They alerted, and I'm sorry. They told me that the scent is kind of weak, as if somebody had walked through here a couple of weeks or a week before this happened.
And
What?
In relation to when Holly Bobo had disappeared, how much later after she disappeared were the dogs doing their scent search?
It's hard to believe, but it was about a week or 2 weeks after that.
Oh, well, okay. I thought it
And
was the
so
same
that gave
day.
you reason. What did you do then with that information?
I interrogated Dodd. I went through his life, everything about him.
What kind of car did he have?
He had a white
White?
Ford Ranger, I believe.
What you
Okay, a
say?
pickup truck.
Correct.
And
Yeah,
he-
we went through his truck too, and
and
at
did
the
you,
go
go ahead.
at the time that I was interrogating him, we had an FBI team of 8 to 10 people sifting through his truck, doing everything with his truck. So
What about his phone records and his Facebook account?
we obtained both of those.
Okay. And did you make a determination about where he was living? You said his grandfather had a cabin over there. Did you decide where John Dodd was living at the time?
He had been staying with his grandfather.
Okay, let's move
But-
on. Oh,
You probably don't want me to ask that, but I'll say it. But at the time of the kidnapping, he was supposedly staying with a friend of his, and he had an alibi.
but you had some people that had seen him that morning near the Bobo home.
Correct.
Let me ask you then about a man named Keith White.
Keith White. Keith White hired James Barnes to build a deck, at his house. So, I mean, he was there at the time Barnes got there.
What about Larry Ham?
Larry Ham, interesting enough, his wife called and said, "Y'all need to look at my husband. He's good for this." So that was all we had. And sure enough, he was turkey hunting that morning.
Can you
He kind of
imagine?
fits the physical description. He's close that our witnesses provided, somewhat anyway.
Ugh.
That's all I
And
remember. He had
what had he been wearing that morning?
camouflage. He'd been turkey hunting.
Okay. And did he have an alibi for the time? Did he have anybody else that could verify an
No,
alibi?
nobody could verify it. I believe his phone records may have provided the U.S. Marshal Service. I sent they're the best with the phone, besides Mr. Frizzell. I'm sorry, Mr. Frizzell, but they are very good at working phone records because they do that all the time to chase down fugitives. They'll look at phone records and figure out where they're at. So I sent out, and they went through everything. And at the end, I mean, I wouldn't tell you 100% that he couldn't have done it, but he didn't fit a lot of other stuff that we knew that we're getting in. So
Okay. What about Richard Townsend?
we check him out. Yes.
Why did you suspect him?
I'm kind of uncomfortable disclosing this because my boss said that we wouldn't. So I would really prefer if I,
Okay, I'll withdraw my question then.
thank you.
How about James Barnes?
I'm
Barnes?
anxious
Yes.
to see.
You know, me
Ed Barnes?
personally, at no point did I ever suspect James Barnes of doing anything wrong whatsoever. And I know that wasn't necessarily a consensus opinion, but that was my opinion because at 7:47, he's the one that's alerting everybody to, hey, this is happening.
James Barnes is the
It's
neighbor, in
idiotic
case
to
you
think he was
forgot,
involved
because
with
he
it.
was really
Right.
early
Direct
on
an
in
investigation towards him.
I did
testimony.
not me
The
personally.
TBI, did the TBI? direct
And I'm
investigation?
anxious to
Well,
see
we
how
checked him out very
this,
Okay, so
how
what did you
Terry
check out
does on
about him?
cross-examination.
His phone records were Keith White. We talked to him. We went to
He's very,
Worst part
very
is we went to
likable.
either Perry County or
Credible
Wayne
on
County to one of his
direct.
friend's house.
We'll
We
see
checked
what
out that area. We
happens.
searched a huge area. We talked to Mr. Keith Clark, who was his good buddy, and this is a guy who was supposedly with him at the time. They saw Holly and Natalie Bobo, Holly's cousin, walking, and they were supposedly staring at him. So we looked at him every way we could, including his mom, who he lived right beside, Miss Kathy Wise.
Okay. And what about the dogs? Did the dogs alert on anything regarding the Barnes house?
Yes.
What did the dogs alert to?
Well, not to his house. There was a pond beside it, and I believe the dogs alerted to the pond. You know, dogs came in from everywhere, and we didn't have certifications. We didn't know if they were great. You know, you're not going to turn them around. You're looking for somebody that's missing, and if they want to go search. They want to go search the woods. Go ahead. They want to go search a pond. Go ahead. But I don't know how these dogs. Some of them absolutely had to be wrong, 100%. So,
Okay.
and in this case, Mr. Barnes, 100%, those dogs had to be. I don't know, looking for a chicken leg or something.
Okay. What about
for a
Kathy
chicken
Wise,
leg.
James Barnes' mother? Did you all investigate her?
Yes.
What did you do to investigate her?
Same type of thing. We did everything with everybody.
Okay, and was there a reason to be suspicious of her regarding a kidnapped victim?
To me, no. There were some people that were suspicious of that allegation.
Okay, what's the allegation?
No, this.
It's a reason that they investigated her, Your Honor. They got her phone records and thoroughly investigated her, and it's an allegation that came up.
I believe there was a
Go good, Jennifer.
girl, an underage girl who may have been a Mennonite or something like that, and she, I wouldn't say kidnapping. She said, "Hey, you can stay with me," because there might have been allegations of abuse or something along that line or neglect, and she told this girl, "You can stay with me." So the girl stayed with her. It didn't result in any criminal charges. It might have been something that half of us would do, another half would say, "I'm not going to get involved in it."
So she had harbored a runaway.
Correct.
What about, you mentioned Keith Clark. Can we go into Keith Clark?
Sure.
Who was Keith Clark?
Keith Clark was James Barnes' best friend.
Okay, and you started to say something about he had seen Holly and Natalie. Can you explain that a little more in depth?
Yes, I believe it was Natalie Bobo gave us information that Holly and her would go walking. They'd walked several times already that year up and down Swan Johnson. James Barnes lived close to them, and on at least one occasion they'd walk by, and Keith Clark and James Barnes had stared at them. They're fairly good-looking ladies, though.
I don't know if you all remember, this is the first time we're hearing anything about Natalie Bobo and Holly Bobo actually spending any time together, because the only thing we have heard up to this point is all about the fact that they were going to, that the motive was because Natalie Bobo was an exotic dancer and she was turning tricks. That's probably the best way I can put it. And they wanted to have a menage a trois. And that went sideways, is supposedly what this motive is. And yeah, Holly, Kelly, your question, it's Swan Johnson Road. That is actually where the Bobo residence was on, it's 681 Swan Johnson Road. And that's where Natalie and her were walking. So this is the first time I've even heard anything as far as testimony goes that even references the fact that Natalie and Holly were ever even together. So I that's interesting.
Okay, and so what all did you do? What records or other items did you obtain to investigate Keith Clark?
Same thing. We did everything. We got everything we could possibly get on everybody that anybody came up with. This guy needs to be looked at. We got him.
What does that include? Phone records?
Phone records, interviewing them, checking out their alibi, doing everything we can to rule them in.
I can't wait to talk about Terry Britt.
What about Blake Barnett?
Blake Barnett was an ex-boyfriend of Holly's. I believe he was actually not the most current ex-boyfriend, but the ex-boyfriend before that. Mr. Barnett worked with Holly's boyfriend's dad, Boo Scott, and he worked at Food Giant in Parsons, and he was at work at 901 that morning.
Okay, so he was at work at 9:01, but not at the time that she actually disappeared. from her home.
I mean, here's the way I when I got my bearings about me. She was kidnapped at 7:45. Her phone is moving at 8 o'clock. Her phone's that we can tell is disassembled between 9:25 and 9:40.
Oh,
So I'm looking for someone that cannot give a good excuse of where they're at from 7:45 to 9:40. That's all I care about. Because if you're not where Holly's phone is, I don't care where you were at, what you were doing. That's what I'm looking at. So Blake Barnett could not have, in my opinion, been the one that kidnapped her. So that's how.
that.
Okay. So just because of the 9 o'clock and he checked in at 9 o'clock, that was he clocked in to work, you said.
That's correct. And we talked to people that worked there as well. And ask how he was doing. What was his demeanor? How was he acting? It'd be hard to imagine that someone could have done this and went on about their business and not shown a reaction whatsoever. So that was an important part of it.
What about Joseph Ragusa?
Very, very entertaining man. Tony the Tiger.
Why do you call him Tony the Tiger?
That was his nickname. This guy lived in the woods on somebody else's property. So when you go up to see him, you hear dogs barking. He had like 15, 20 dogs, all strays. People had dumped off. Well, this man, he didn't have money to eat himself, but he had plenty of dog food. He fed every one of these dogs, took care of them.
Oh, bless his
And
heart.
every tree close to where he was staying is a snake. He's killing snakes and eating them. So God bless him for that. That's why I say he's a very good man. He wore them out.
Okay.
And he had no vehicle. He didn't fit the physical description.
Wow.
Voice didn't sound like what we're looking for. So, and he was at work that day. So anybody you name, I probably can give you 4 or 5 reasons why I know that person did not kidnap Holly.
What about John Russo?
John Russom, he,
What led you to him to begin with?
I don't remember. It may have been simply where he was living at the time, or someone may have called in. I don't remember. It was very weak information that we had.
Okay.
He was on probation. So when I went out there, people that are on probation, they don't have a right to deny you to go in their house. So we carried everybody and went through all his house. He had all kinds of camo, but I ruled him out because he's bald headed. We had several people confirm that he's bald headed.
Longer
He
hair.
showed me his foot, and it looked very, very bad. I don't know what the medical term is, but I believe it's had something to do with diabetes. And he had trouble walking.
Oh.
He only had access to a motorcycle. He didn't have a car.
All
he-
So he did have some
problems.
transportation.
He had a motorcycle, yes.
And did he have an alibi for the time that she disappeared?
No, I don't believe he did. He applied for a job that morning, probably around 9 o'clock at the North 40 truck stop. I don't believe it was at the truck stop, but it's somewhere right around the truck stop. May have been the auto body shop, or anyway, that was what he was doing that day. So
Were you able to clearly rule him out, or did he remain a partial suspect?
he didn't do it. I mean, yeah, I ruled him out. I mean, he
Okay.
didn't fit on anything. And everybody you named, you said, well, what about this person as a suspect? I'm trying to put together a puzzle, and if I find 5 pieces that don't fit, I'm done. Or 2 pieces that don't fit, I'm done. It's not this person, and everything you may disagree with me that wasn't enough, but all you really have to have is one fact that says this person couldn't have kidnapped her, and you need to go do something else. So I had
He's
several facts that said he
absolutely
didn't do it,
right.
So I moved on.
Okay. What about Michael Alexander?
Michael Alexander was at work that morning. He was working on a machine that he'd been working on for 2 years. It was going to Australia. He worked for a company in Parsons named American Coding and Machine, something like that. It's right there on 641.
This man's
He was working that
memory.
morning, and he was confirmed by every one of his coworkers, and his boss. We had timesheets. Every which way you can imagine, he was not there. He couldn't have done it.
Okay. What about Jason Nickel?
Okay, we looked at him early on, very early on, probably we'd already had the mobile command post, but we didn't get it that first day. I would say probably by the 15th or 16th, we were on Jason Nickel
15th or 16th?
of April.
Okay.
Yes, very
Now,
early.
his phone actually had some common pings with her phone that morning, did it not?
I don't believe so. And with him at 9:30, he was at a doctor's office. This is what I remember. He was at a doctor's office with kidney stones.
What were the reasons you suspected Jason Nickel to begin with?
She says I just want to rule him out, so I don't see the relevance.
It is relevant.
He can say why he was looking at it.
He stalked a girl in Jackson. Officer Hedden with the Jackson Police Department got a warrant on him for that. He fit the description of an attempted abduction or stalking from a week to 2 weeks before in Dixon.
Okay, tell us about that attempted abduction in Dixon. Well, but this man, Are you aware
He's
of,
already testified he ruled him out. What happened in Dixon a week prior to this is irrelevant.
Well, there was a kidnapping 6 days before this one, an attempted kidnapping in Dixon, Tennessee, where a person pulled up in a car and tried to pull a woman who was similar in
I'm
appearance.
not, it's irrelevant. He said he ruled this person out. This is your witness.
So when you ruled him out, it was only because of the doctor's appointment that morning. Is that right?
That's not the only way we ruled him out.
okay,
All right. So we did other things that
Wow.
were admissible in court. But
okay.
Here
that's
we
not the only
go.
thing we did. No, I'm under oath. I can't tell you. That's the only thing we did.
Okay,
Prosecuting
what about Jerry
attorney
Evans?
Judge McGinley, in case you were
Jerry
wondering.
Evans, he lived really close to the Bobos, really close to the Bobos. And actually, where he lived, I believe he probably would have seen the vehicle going by at the time of the kidnapping if he had been looking. The route of the kidnapper indicates that more than likely it went right in front of his house. And that's a pretty good ways off the road. But so Evans that morning saw a flatbed truck, a green flatbed truck,
Mhm.
and he came to one of the
I remember hearing
one
this.
of the roadblocks and try to give some information about it. And they, I don't know, they didn't take that information. But I followed up on that at a later time.
Yep.
And you got to understand, I mean, while he's trying to give the information, Holly's cell phone is going all through the county. So again, he's not the kidnapper, according to just that. And Holly's cell phone went past his house. And it turns out the vehicle that he saw was using cattle. They were feeding cattle. Hispanic man drove it that morning for one of the cattle farmers.
Okay, and what about Clint Bobo? Was he a suspect at one time?
He was a suspect for probably 12 hours in my mind.
Okay, what about other people in the department? Did they think he was a suspect?
Yes.
Okay, and so what evidence kind of pointed towards him?
We're talking about, Mr. Dykus is excluded as a suspect after 12 hours. So we're talking about other investigators.
Are you talking about his investigation?
Your investigation, what evidence did you initially think pointed towards him being a suspect?
Well, look, I'm not immune to the same type of things that other people were saying. Other people were thinking, how could he have done this? He did this. He didn't do this.
What do you mean by he did this, he didn't do this?
Well, there's a lot of people that gave him grief. A lot of Captain Americans that said, well, if I'd been there, I'd done this. Yeah, you might have died right there in the carport. But a lot of people thought that was strange, that what he saw, it took him a few minutes. Literally, it's just a few minutes. It took him a few minutes to react to it and to figure out what was going on. So I think that was the main part of it, that people like, oh, why didn't he do something? He didn't know what was going on. And when I say I ruled him out, in my mind, when I found out for sure Holly's cell phone is gone, it's moving, when I found out for sure there's no body in or around the house anywhere, he didn't kidnap her, so I forgot about it. Forgot about him as a suspect.
Okay, and then what about Terry and Janet Britt? Did you investigate them?
I did.
Okay, and what
Here
were
we
the
go.
reasons that you thought they would be involved, or Terry Britt would be involved?
Have a seat. Well,
Oh, I love it.
so
I love it.
he is a registered sex offender, a violent sex offender. He lives northern Decatur County. He has black hair. He weighs 200 pounds and he's 6 foot tall. So I got on to him because, number one, he is the exact size of what our witness said the abductor looked like. Okay.
Yep.
His history tells me he's capable of kidnapping her. So you put that together, and
And graping
his alibi
her.
for that morning was kind of weak. His main alibi was his wife.
Yep.
Ordinarily, that's not a bad alibi. That's what most people have. The wife is with you. That's it. But this wife had been with him on more than one occasion where he had picked up a woman and got accused of trying to sexually assault her or rape her.
Shut the front
so-
door.
That
I
brought him as a
told you
suspect,
all.
After Miss Karen put me on him. She
I told you the
called me one day and
wife.
said, you got to find out about this guy. Natalie calls Chester the molester. That's what she knows him by. That Natalie and Holly were in Dollar General store a couple of weeks before the kidnapping, and this guy was staring at him. So at the same time she calls, I believe it was the same day. I was dealing with a frantic girl that's saying, this guy has been stalking me and he won't stop. He won't stop stalking me. The first time he stalked
Who
her,
is this?
Shelley King.
Okay.
No, Kristen Smith. I'm sorry.
Kristen
Chris-
Smith, okay.
I believe it's Kristen Smith. Okay. But, Your Honor, if we can we say initials on these girls? I don't want him to get out and do something.
No, Your Honor.
Okay. So this girl reported to me, this guy's stalking her. So I made her at the sheriff's department. I walk in, me and Ricky Emmon. First thing I noticed about her, she's got blonde hair, blue eyes. She looked a lot like Holly. And she actually said that she had been pulled over by officers that thought she was Holly. And at first I kind of thought, they might be punking me and messing with me because she looked similar. She looked very similar to her. She was not her first cousin. I believe her second cousin or third cousin. But anyway, she tells me about this guy on 3 separate occasions that has been following her followed her home one time, and she followed through on it. She got a tag number. One of her friends had pulled up some information on the sex offender registry. She came and told me his name is Terry Britt. This is the guy that is stalking me. And she said, this is not, I've known this guy for years because I used to work at Joe's Video with Janet Britt. And at that point, I'm going crazy, but I got Miss Karen telling me, you better check out Chester and Molester. At the same time, I go talk to Natalie, and Natalie tells me, Chester and Molester is Terry Britt. So I got Terry Britt seeing Holly. shortly before the
Wow.
abduction, and he's stalking somebody that could pass as her sister the weekend after the abduction. I got a little curious.
Okay, so what did you do next? Just in terms of
Wow, y'all.
In terms of the
well,
stalking,
just stalking victims.
I'm riveted.
We
Keep
kept getting more
talking.
information about all these girls in Decatur County that he had been stalking around the time of the kidnapping. And of course, this is what I'm looking for. Somebody that I don't believe that somebody accidentally got in the woods that morning. Thank God, Miss Karen's gone to work, Dana's gone to work, and Clint's vehicle's parked somewhere else. I don't believe that. I believe they had to look into it. They had to put a little bit of effort into kidnapping her, a little bit of thought into it. They thought.
I
about
don't
where
think
were
they
gonna park
thought
the
Clint
vehicle.
was
They
gonna
thought about
be
where they were
there.
gonna take it to. I don't believe this was a random type thing where, hey, let's, I'm checking the water meter, and then let's commit a Class A felony. So a total of 8 different women has told us different things, and some of them are a little dated a few years back, but all the information is kind of
8.
similar. He would pull up, he got caught, stopped in a road staring at these girls. Another lady said she caught him staring, and her husband worked as a deputy sheriff. So, I mean, you think about how brazen someone had to be to stalk a deputy sheriff's wife, right?
Wow.
Just about as brazen as you have to be to go and kidnap somebody off their carport. So,
Oh,
that
we
deputy
met
sheriff went
him.
and talked to him at the time that
We
happened. He
believe
said,
that.
you ain't gonna do it. You're not gonna do it. And that's
I'm just sort of hearsay, and we're getting a lot of Mr. opinions about things, which I don't believe is the purpose of this testimony. We aren't quite sure the rule.
But it's to show why his investigation moved in a certain direction.
I'm given great latitude to show everyone that he's checked out included. Let's
Okay.
pick this up a little.
So you had 8
Pick it up.
women that you
Pick
were
it
able
up.
to determine had been stalked today. Was there a type that these women look like?
most of them were blonde-headed and blue-eyed. The majority of them are very good-looking women.
So
Very
then what did you do to check out Mr. Britt, Terry Britt?
The first thing I did was check prior reports on what had we done to exclude him or get him off, be off his trail. So that's the first thing I did. I went back and read everything else, and I checked what his alibi was. His alibi was he got up that morning. Well, first of all, he delivered newspapers with his wife on Tuesday nights. So they delivered newspapers until 3:10 a.m. on the morning of the kidnapping. But allegedly, they got up that morning for a bathtub that had been leaking for several weeks, and they decided they were going to go get a bathtub that morning. And she laid out of work. She didn't go to work that day. At a newspaper, in Decatur County the day Holly was kidnapped. So
And what
The
was significance of
wife?
that to you?
Called
Well,
out.
there's normally 4 or 5 people that worked at this newspaper, but on Wednesdays they only have Jan and another guy. So when she laid out of work that day, she left one guy who told me himself he was a low-functioning alcoholic as being in charge of the newspaper on the biggest news day in the history of the state of Tennessee. So I thought that was significant.
That is significant.
I went back over.
Was it a scheduled day off that she took?
I
She didn't tell
I-
anybody. She just laid out. That's what we heard.
She was
I
a
found out later
no-call,
that
no-show.
She didn't lay out. She went to work and he called her and made her leave work.
So
I gotta
go
back
ahead,
that up.
What else
What was
about
that
their
last
alibi?
little bit there?
So that's what we heard. I found out later that she didn't lay out. She went to work and he called her and made her leave work.
So go ahead. What else about their alibi?
What?
So their alibi, they got up that morning, went and got a bathtub. There's several different parts of that I checked out, but the first thing I wanted to know is, was there any type of discrepancy? Because since he's on the sex offender registry, a good buddy of mine, a brilliant idea, at the very beginning, he gave orders to some of the Decatur County investigators or sheriff's deputies, said, go out and find every sexual offender in this county, find out where they're at and where they've been. That was brilliant. That worked great. But when they went out, they came back and told us, and I think when they were checking on these sex offenders, they didn't really keep up with their time that much. So they said,
Well, if he knows,
Speculation.
If he knows.
do you know?
yeah, I'm just trying to say that I don't blame them for being wrong. Okay. So, but they were wrong. They were off on what time they went out. So they go out there and around 1:45, 2 deputies go out looking for Terry Britt. And at the time they go out, there's at least 3 vehicles missing from the house.
Is Strikes there for this?
It's in the report. It's in the report.
Strikes isn't here for this. So we objected continuously.
He testified someone else observed 3 vehicles were missing.
Yes, but it's part of his investigation, Your Honor.
It's still hearsay.
Okay, we'll skip that portion for now.
Okay. So the Brits were not home at 1:45. Okay.
Again, you all tell me, as a juror, the fact that they are working so hard to keep this particular investigator's information out of the trial, how would that play for you? As a juror sitting there, would you be like, oh, yeah, yeah, oh, you shouldn't be getting into that. You shouldn't be getting into that. Or would you be like, huh, why are you trying to cover up all of this information? And by the way, this is one of the few times that I've watched a trial and I've seen an attorney actually ask the questions on direct the way they're supposed to, instead of leading and leading and leading and leading. It should be a question and then kind of like a story that gets told. It shouldn't be yes and no answers on direct. Anyway.
And they were gone somewhere at that time. They go back. The deputies go back later on
1:45.
that day, 3 to 3:30, and they see the Brits unloading.
Again, we've had testimony about this. This is not his
Okay.
information.
Here's a-
We heard testimony about this. You can say
Okay.
that part too.
All right. Well, I mean,
Okay.
I checked his alibi and found out it was garbage.
So what about what else about the alibi was garbage? Why did you think the alibi was garbage?
We pulled his phone. We pulled Jan's phone records. Brett had always said, I don't have a phone. I don't have a phone at all. He told that to the investigator. Well, okay. He had told that repeatedly. And when we checked out her phones, well, actually, Danny Haynes told me that.
And who is Danny?
That's bad. Okay.
It gets tricky, but who is Danny Haynes?
Danny Haynes is Jan's boss.
And did you interview him in during your investigation?
Yes.
So after talking to Danny Haynes, what then were you looking for in the telephone records?
Well, from what Danny Haynes
Not from what he said.
Okay.
But what were you looking for in the telephone records when you get the telephone records?
I'm looking to see if Jan and Terry talked to each other at all that day.
Were you looking for a specific time?
Yes, anytime that day, because their stories, they're together all day.
Okay. But how did you figure out what his telephone number was if he said he didn't have a cell phone?
We didn't know his cell phone for sure until we got up on a wiretap.
Well, but before that, you knew you had already tapped a telephone that you thought belonged to him. So by looking at Janet Britt's telephone records,
You'd be
what
able to
was
have
it
get
that
the other
clued you into
number.
What might be his, Terry Britt's telephone number?
It was the only number that called. It was the only number that called.
Correct.
If he's calling every day at lunchtime, then there should be a record of that. And if he's making a phone call from the parking lot, then he's probably got a cell phone.
Okay. So based on that, you now have a telephone number that you think is Terry Britt's cell phone number. What do you do with that?
I got geolocate information. In other words, the same as I did with Holly's phone, find out where it was that entire day.
Okay. And I think their alibi was that they were together the entire day. Is that correct?
That is correct.
Okay. So knowing that that was their alibi, by looking at the phone records, what were you able to determine?
That their alibi was a lie.
Why?
Because 12/17, Britt
How does
calls-
he
Well, first of all,
remember
what kind of
these
activity was on that
times?
morning?
We're getting into sort of like cell phone expertise, and I think it's
That's the
demonstrated.
same calls or texts. We're not getting into that.
Right, no technical, but what kind of telephone calls were you able to?
Well, I think it's easily illustrated by what he said. He said Britt called as if he can testify, so who has a telephone in their
You
hand?
can say from the telephone record.
From the telephone records, what were you able to determine?
the
Oh, for
first call
heaven's
that
sake.
What records were that morning? First of all, what did the records show?
there was no incoming, outgoing calls that morning.
Okay.
So
When is the first call then?
12/17.
Okay. And what happens at that time?
Britt's cell phone communicates with an ex-wife, and Britt's story is that that's the first time he found out about the abduction of Holly Bobo.
Okay. And then what did you determine next regarding his alibi that he was with his wife all day long, Janet Britt?
His cell phone called Janet's cell phone and talked to it for 2 minutes and 56 seconds.
So why did you suspect that? I mean, why did you find that significant?
Well, it's obvious that it's not true. So
What's not true?
his alibi is not true. It's fabricated.
Okay. So what else did you do to his alibi from that day?
Um,
Did Janet Britt, did they present you with any kind of physical documentation?
Janet Britt did not. At one point, one of our TBI agents and an FBI agent went out and spoke to Britt, and they attempted to. Britt contacted his wife, who came to the scene, and
Where were they at the time?
Janet was at work, and Terry Britt was at his house at 3138 Jeanette Holiday Road.
Okay.
So he's talking to him, and Britt says, "Hold on, let me call and get the receipt here." And they're like, but he calls, and she comes up there, shows him the receipt for a bathtub, which is what they supposedly bought that day.
And where was the receipt from?
It was from All Goods Salvage. It's a place in Benton County, just north of Decatur County.
Okay, and did you personally do anything then to try to check out that alibi at All Good Salvage?
Yes, I went and spoke to every employee from All Goods that was working that day. None of them could really remember Terry Britt.
Okay, were you able to find anybody that could verify that he'd been in the store that day?
No, they had no surveillance video. They had no receipt that matched the receipt that they had showed.
Now explain that about no receipt that matched. What does that mean?
So they have these old timey receipts. Got a stack of them sitting on the desk.
Where does the stack sit?
They sit right on the desk by the cash register up front.
Okay.
So they have these stack of receipts, and whenever they make a sale, they'll pull off one of these receipts and write it up as what they've purchased. They'll undo it, give the customer one copy, and then they'll retain a copy, a carbon copy.
Okay. And so what did you ask All Goods Salvage to do for you?
I asked the accountant for All Goods. They'd already turned in the receipt to the accountant, and I asked them to pull the receipts and find out if there was a purchase of a bathtub on April 13, 2011, or any time that week. So they pulled up the whole week, and there's no receipt to it.
So the carbon copy of the receipt that Terry Britt showed you, that was his alibi for where he had been that day, it was missing from the store's copies.
That's correct.
And did he present you with any other receipts from that day?
No, well, let me correct you a little bit there. He didn't present me with any receipts.
Okay.
We got his receipts out of his safe when I did a search warrant in
From his
January
wife.
2012. So he didn't actually give me the receipts. I took them.
Did they have a lot of receipts in the safe? Or
A
just
year
few?
later.
There were several receipts. I mean, I don't.
Were they from different days or just that day?
He had receipts from different days. There wasn't a whole lot of receipts, but there were a few in there.
And he had other receipts from that day also, didn't he?
Yes,
Okay. And what do you remember what those other receipts were?
yes, he had and this is another part of his alibi that's fabricated. His story is they got up, they went to All Good Salvage, they looked for bathtubs. They were worried about the price, so they decided to go to Buck's Building Supply in Parsons and check them out there.
Yep.
So they go to Parsons, they check out the bathtubs there.
No, was it Parsons Building Supply? Decaturville.
Decaturville Building Supply. That's right. So they check them out there. Then they go back to All Goods and purchase a bathtub. So they went to Camden twice that day. That's it. This other receipt was from an All Good, a discount bin, All Good discount bargain bin or something like that, where on that day, on April 13th, they had purchased some vinyl remnants. So that would have put it at 3 times of going to Benton County. So that was, when I interviewed Britt, that was something he just stared like, you got me. He had no answer for this. Because I said, was that possible? Did you go up there 3 times? Did you go
3
line all the time? No.
times?
Well, maybe you had the vinyl remnant in there with the bathtub. No, there's no way it would have fit. Okay, thank you.
So he denied going to All Goods All Goods discount on the 13th of April.
That's correct.
Although he had a receipt that showed he was at All Goods discount that day.
That's correct. And he's in Benton County that afternoon around 2:30 or so, buying gas at a gas station in Benton County.
So say that again, please.
Oh,
He
sir.
was in, well, we have a receipt from a credit card or debit card where he was in Benton County around 2:30 up there later on that afternoon on the day of the 13th.
Oh, Terry. Terry, and your little cover it up
Okay, so at
wife.
that point, what did you do next?
At that point, let's see, I've already interviewed Jan's boss. I've already interviewed the person that had supposedly seen them that day on that Wednesday when they came in, the guy that was working there that they left there. At that point, I began drafting a wiretap application to wiretap the home and the cars, the cell phones of the Brits. And I also drafted a search warrant application.
And before we get into that, what about the voice? Because I heard you say something earlier about he had a voice that matched. What did you do to try to identify his voice?
Okay, well that's in January. Okay, so we did the search warrant. We installed all the wiretap devices January 17th of 2012. Part of a wiretap, what you do is you monitor conversations, and then you need to stimulate it. You need to do something that gets them talking about what you want them to talk about. So part of that
The
stimulation,
bump.
January 25th, interview Britt. So I went through at that point, recorded his voice, and went through the whole story with him that day. He had at an attorney's office. He'd hired an attorney, so we were there. And then after that, I let Clint listen to some audio recordings that had his voice in it.
Okay. And did Clint identify anybody when he listened to audio recordings?
Yeah, Clint had trouble distinguishing between Alan Snelling. If anybody knows him, he's got a deep voice. Alan Snelling.
Who is Alan Snelling?
He's a sergeant with the Savannah Police Department.
Back in the disappearance of Holly Bobo.
No, he was at work that day, and he's about 5'8", 150, 60 pounds.
Okay.
So, and real short hair. So I let Clint listen to him, and he asked, "Is that the same voice 2 and 5?" And 5 was Britt, 2 was Alan Snelling. And I said, "No, I can't answer that. I just want you to tell me if you recognize the voice from that morning. And he says, well, you know, they sound very similar. I can't distinguish them, but it's the same tone and the same pitch as what I heard that morning. Both voices. And at that point, the first time I let Clint listen to it, he kind of leaned more heavily on Alan Snelling than he did Britt. Well, I came back after I let him listen to this because I recorded Britt saying, "You have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can be," you know, basically the Miranda warnings. And then I went around to several police officers here in Savannah and said, "Read this for me. I need to have a voice identification," you know. So that's what I did. Well, the second time I went there, I recorded a much longer story. So I had Alan Snelling basically repeat 10 or 11 minutes of the story that Terry Britt told.
This is a very long story for them to tell the story about how Clint Bowman.
Okay, so
Oh.
so the second time you did an extended voice test.
Danger, prosecution.
Okay.
We don't want
Before the
this
second test, I
in.
let him listen to the original recording again, and he leaned. He was fairly certain that it was Britt, the voice he heard. He listened to the entire thing, and he says, "Yes, I'm not absolutely certain, but I believe that's the voice I heard."
And
I believe he said it was 80%. He was 80% sure. Not
Wow, that's a pretty
So
big
then, in order to get
certainty.
the wiretap, now the wiretap was signed by the court, is that right?
Correct.
Okay. And in order to get the wiretap, you put down multiple reasons why you had probable cause to believe that Terry Britt was involved in the disappearance of Holly Bobo. There was an affidavit that was prepared, wasn't there?
Yes, ma'am.
And the standard to get a wiretap is probable cause, isn't it?
Probable cause on steroids. is
What's
what we say.
on
Because
a
the wiretap, you
wiretap
actually have to have a-
request
You have to show
is
that other
hearsay?
efforts were exhausted.
That's correct.
Um,
Or either exhausted or would be unfruitful.
So you filled out, or you did the affidavit and the application. What was the result of the wiretap?
The result of the wiretap is I found out that Janet Britt was not involved in the kidnapping of Holly Bubba.
Okay. When you did the wiretap, was there something that occurred on the wiretap that made you believe that Terry Britt suspected you might be listening to him?
Yes, he mentioned in the wiretap at the very beginning, watch what you say. I bet they bugged the house or bugged the area. And if I can explain that a little further,
Yes.
is it okay?
He testified what he heard Mr. Britt say in the wiretap. That's not objectionable, perfectly fine. As far as getting into opinion testimony again, this was
Okay.
already addressed.
Well, I would simply explain how I was going to explain how I knew that. But that's all.
So we're not going into technical aspects or opinion.
So what does that mean?
Okay.
Why
the
is
Am Farm
Whispering
video,
Rock
were you able to do
so-
anything with the Am Farm video?
He's all
that
amped
you
up.
matched up pictures that you thought were indicative of Mr. Britt's activities on the day that Holly Bobo disappeared.
Hmm.
Yes.
What was that?
So Britt calls his ex-wife at 12:17. He called his wife at 12:20 or 12:21. So I looked at the Am Farm video to see if he's coming down south on 641 going towards where she works. And I found a champagne-colored F-150 extended cab coming down Am Farm video right about the time, and I drove this several times, right about the drive time it would have taken to go from his house down to where that video is, or where the camera is.
So she was gone until 12:30. He had all that time that morning to do whatever he pleased. Is that what I just heard? What?
Did you have a reason to believe that Terry Britt had changed his appearance after it came out that there was a witness to Holly Bobo's disappearance?
Yes.
What was that?
So I pulled all of Britt's photos from 34 years going back, and he's always had
What do
them
you
all.
mean his photos?
His photographs every time when you're in prison, they take photographs of you.
When you're in
inside,
prison.
outside. And I think they must take them some other times, but
I was
we have
thinking
photos
driver's
of him
license.
there for all these times. Around the time of the kidnapping, according to several, 3 different people, he changed his appearance by cutting his hair off short. I don't know if it was before the kidnapping or after the kidnapping, but it was around that time.
Okay, I feel like I need to clear this up because KS Granny said I thought she called off. So what I'm understanding based on his investigation is, and based on what the cell phone records said, Janet Britt, and can I just say, she is giving Janet's a really bad name. I'm upset that she behaves this way. So Janet Britt went to work that day. He would have been home by himself for several hours. at around, I think he said it was around 12:20 is when he sees on the Am Farm video in front of that business, Terry Britt heading toward where Janet Britt was employed. At that time, yeah, she does go by Jan, Kelly. Thank you. And I hate being called Jan. Ugh, I just, bleh. Yeah, 12:17 was when the first phone call went out, and that one went to Terry Britt's ex-wife. And then following right on the heels of that call was the call to Janet Britt. So he went and picked her up at around 12:30. That's a lot of time. He's all by himself. He can do whatever he wants. Nobody knows what he's doing. I don't even know at this point whether that flippin' tub was even purchased on this particular day. I guess it could have been, but I think it was purchased more like at 3 or 3:30 in the afternoon, because they were at the Britt residence at 1:45 and no one was there. And then they came back at 3:30 and they were there unloading the tub. According to Terry Britt, it was in the morning. Well, it has to be in the morning. Otherwise, his alibi is completely blown. So that's what all of this testimony is getting at. I hope that cleared it up some.
And so also, where is Mr. Britt's residence located in relationship to where some of the evidence in this case was discarded?
It's basically at the geographic center of it. Northeast of Holly's house, probably 5 to 8 miles northeast of Holly's house.
Okay. And also, did you have reason to believe, or what did your investigation tell you about Mr. Britt's knowledge of the area where the items had been thrown out, where Holly's items had been thrown out along the road?
So the Yellow Springs Road, where the first item was thrown out, there used to be a trailer there. It was a friend of Britt's. They would go there quite frequently. So right in front of this trailer is where Holly's first receipt was thrown out.
Oh,
Okay. And what about Mr. Britt being familiar with County Corner Road and the area of the cellular tower where her body was found?
Yeah. So Britt used to put $20 in gas in the car and drive around and drink all day. And that is one of the areas where they would go to quite frequently. There's no cops there. You never see a car there.
I absolutely
go,
believe
We
that.
would monitor the traffic, and we'd see 1 or 2 cars for an hour, and that was it.
Okay. And did you check in with Mr. Britt's cohorts?
I did.
Okay. And after you did that, what kind of information did you learn from checking with them? It's not,
I think it's what he did in response to.
What did you do in response to the information that you
learned from checking with his companions.
Are you referring to Skip and Mr.
Sure.
Hostetter? I don't know. We just kept trying to gather more information. We did. I did conduct a specific search at New Prospect Cemetery, which is right up there on the route of where her cell phone traveled.
I
And-
can't KS Granny. I wish I could. I have no earthly idea except their minds were made up before they ever sat their butts in the jury box.
Okay, at some point, did you confront Terry Britt about stalking these women?
I did.
And what was the result after you confronted him with that?
That was a huge mistake because he threatened 2 of the women that he had been stalking after I confronted him with all the information that I had.
I believe that.
Stalking other women. I didn't tell him any names or where they worked or anything.
We saw his
Most of the women that he'd
behavior.
been stalking. So he
I believe that.
he followed one of them home, stopped in the middle of the road and stared at her. The other one, we got surveillance video that she worked at an Ace Hardware. They were connected on by the same people, had the same door. So he's in Ace Hardware staring at her. He goes and buys something for 60 cents, then goes back, stares at her again. Yeah,
60 cents, you
that was
say?
a huge mistake. I should have never said that.
Okay, at some point then, did you get a search warrant to search his home?
I did. That was actually before I confronted him. We did the search warrant before we ever confronted him.
Okay, and so what did you find when you searched his home?
Well, all kinds of stuff. We found videos on his computers. We found
So let's talk about the videos on his computer.
Where'd you go, good Jennifer? What's happening?
Okay, what kind of videos did you find on his computers?
There's one thing, hopefully Mr. Dykes is agent who extracted any sort of videos from Mr. Computer.
Did he want to give testimony?
Well, but Your Honor, it was all part of the case file and he
Not
reviewed
making
these.
a difference. If it's hearsay, it's still hearsay.
It's coming from it's not hearsay, it's coming from Mr. Britt's computer.
It's what someone told him was in the computer.
What?
I'd like to pass these images up and have you just
are we
identify them as
doing?
images that you recognize as having come from Mr. Britt's computer.
Evidence again is hearsay.
Somebody else.
Well, I want him to identify this.
He can be asked if he recovered these.
Okay.
If someone else recovered, then it's not competent testimony.
Did you,
You can't ever testify to what you learned about the evidence in the case. What is happening?
did you review a report that was made after the extraction?
I think you directed her exactly what question should be, and she didn't ask it. Did you recover these?
Did you recover these?
Did you
If
recover-
didn't, then it's not
Well, I
competent.
can't pass him the images yet.
Nope, he knows whether or not he recovered any images.
Why are there two attorneys from the
Did you
state
recover any images off his
objecting?
Did I?
Yes.
No.
Bad Jennifer, you
Was
need
there
to
a search
shut
warrant on his
up.
computer at the same time you searched his house,
Yes,
but his computer was seized,
correct. Several computers were seized.
and then they were sent to the lab. Is that right?
That's correct.
And after that came back, did you ever discuss that material with Terry Britt?
I did.
Already
And,
there.
Did he deny that any of that belonged to him, or did he acknowledge it?
He couldn't stop looking at it.
He what?
He could not stop looking at it,
Okay,
but he did not deny it.
okay. Um,
Exactly, Kelly.
So anyway, you said you found videos on his computer. What else did you find at his house?
We recovered probably 100 items altogether. We found, we had more dogs there. These dogs were human decomposition dogs. We recovered a shovel, a couple of hammers, and an axe that had been out in one of the storage sheds. And the dogs alerted to him as being around the scent of human decomposition. And 2 of his vehicles alerted to that as well.
Wow.
And we got the receipts.
So now
We got cell phones. I mean,
I'd like to pass forward to you.
Wow.
a
The
photograph.
dogs hit at his house?
Now, do you recognize that photograph?
yes, ma'am. These are the antique,
Antique?
correct? Well, that's antique, yeah.
So,
Antique items at the Brits.
and I'd like to have this then marked as an exhibit.
The exhibit, 220.
The way this prosecution talks when they object, it's so offensive.
Oh, you're gonna have to look at it, too.
Will you please describe for the jury what these items are? I'm going to zoom in so you can see some of them a little better. What are these items?
Yes, KS Granny. They did. They hit 4 times. I would say 1 for each car, 1 for these, and 1 for where these items were.
Forgive me, I'm not quite sure. I believe that would be considered hammer tape.
Okay. And why was it that you were referring to these things as being antiques?
Because after we took them, I was constantly requested to get them back to them because they were antiques that had been in the family forever.
Did they appear to you to be antiques?
Again, I don't know what an antique shovel looks like. I'm sorry.
But who was requesting to get it back?
Janet Britt.
And did you ever return it to her?
I don't remember.
And I wanted to ask you also, in the description that you got of the person that possibly took, or the description of the person that walked away with Holly Bobo, was the person compared to anybody else? Do you remember there being a comparison?
But the guy was built just like his cousin, Richie Pratt. So we carried, and Holly and Miss Karen were the same height. So we carried Miss Karen and Richie Pratt, basically the same area that Clint saw. We tried to measure the height. So Clint's saying the guy's a little bit shorter than Richie Pratt. So we got, we did some surveillance on Terry Britt. We took some pictures of him as he's walking in and out at the newsletter. And we also had Mr. Richie Pratt walk through at the same area, and we took pictures of them to compare side by side.
Okay. And I just passed you 2 pictures. What do you recognize these 2 pictures as being?
Okay, this is one picture of Terry Britt, one picture of Richie Pratt taken in the back parking lot of the newsletter.
And will you hand me the picture of Richie Pratt first? I'd like to have this marked as an exhibit.
221,
And then my next exhibit of Terry Britt.
222.
That is Mr. Richie Pratt. He is a cousin of Bobo's.
Okay.
Oh.
Now, who is this a picture of?
That is Mr. Terry Lee Britt.
Okay. And just for the record, Terry Britt is the one that has on the shorts in the picture. Is that right?
Wow. Look at how similar they look.
When you were considering that Mr. Britt might be involved in this?
Yes.
Xerox copies, just to kind of speed things along, did you recover any Xerox copies at the Britt's home that you found suspicious or odd?
Not that I remember.
From a yearbook.
Oh yeah, okay. That one of the lady that I told you that worked at Radio Shack. They had a locked shed in the back, and
Who's they?
Jan and Terry had a locked shed behind their house, and in the shed, in a carpenter's binder, the one that they flip up. In that, they had a picture of this girl highlighted, Nicole, N.A.
Okay, and so this picture that they had of her, where did it come from?
It came from the newsletter where Jan worked.
And why would her picture have been in the newsletter?
I believe she had gotten a scholarship or graduated from high school, something like that.
Okay. Did you ever come across a reason why Holly's photograph would have been in the newsletter?
Yes, when she graduated, she was in there too. Got a $500 scholarship or something.
And this
Amazing.
person, this NA that you said her photograph from her yearbook was Xerox, is that the same way that it appeared in the newsletter, her yearbook photograph?
I believe so.
And so do you remember what school she went to in relationship to Holly?
I think she went to Riverside, the same school, or it might have been Scottsdale.
Okay.
It's one of the two.
Okay.
There's only two, so it might have been Scottsdale.
Okay.
I know the other lady that I was talking to you about. She went to the other school. She went to Riverside. The lady that he followed home.
And the pink underwear that was found kind of near Shane Austin's trailer. Did you have a working theory on why that pink underwear was found outside his trailer?
Questions, all right, Joe.
Did you have a working theory as to why that underwear was found there?
My theory, after we figured out that it wasn't Holly's, was that someone was cleaning out their car, and there was another pair of another woman's underwear in there, and they grabbed them and threw them out. Just
Thinking it was Holly's stuff.
And was it related at all to the materials that belonged to Holly?
No.
When you said cleaning out their car, that means just a litter bug threw them there?
Yeah, well, so the route that Holly's cell phone probably traveled, as best we can tell, is certainly when you do the drive times and you do the cell pings and all this, the route that she traveled at around 9 o'clock, she's going down Yellow Spring. The abductor is going down Yellow Springs Road, 902, 905.
Her cell
going down
phone
that time.
is.
So at that point, my theory is he's throwing stuff out, getting ready to go back home.
What stuff out?
He's throwing out her.
And who's her?
Okay, the abductor is throwing out Holly's receipts. He's throwing out the panties that just happened to be in the vehicle because they dealt with another girl. He continues on the route till he gets to the creek on Gooch Road.
I think
where he
this is
throws out
very
the majority of the
plausible.
stuff that he doesn't plan on keeping. He throws out her lunchbox. He throws out her
Notebook, does he throw
notebooks,
out?
her notebooks, her book. Throws out all this stuff. And my working theory is at that time, Holly was dead.
Okay, and so why is it that you thought that by the time the abductor threw out the lunchbox, Holly would have been dead?
Way too much time talking about theories and things.
No,
He was the lead investigator. That's his job, to have working theories
anybody
and have an opinion.
speculate?
I know, but he's the lead
Lead
agent on
investigator.
the case, Your Honor, directing the investigation, and his
But not,
What just happened? Oh, I'm about to be absolutely
about the
enraged.
palm print that
Did he just tell her enough? Like she's a child and
Directing the
he is
investigation and
a
his-
parent?
the lead agent on the case, Your Honor, directing the investigation, and his
but not,
Earth just happened.
Okay, about the palm print that was found on the Mustang. Did you all test Terry Britt's palm print?
Oh.
I don't remember that. I thought we did. Maybe we didn't.
He was not excluded, was he?
That's right. He was not excluded but he wasn't. They didn't say it was his, but they said. that
Oh, they
it was
couldn't
not him.
exclude that as being his palm print on her car. Even more interesting.
Also, did you find any connection between Zach Adams and Clint Bobo?
No.
In your investigation?
None.
Did you find any evidence at all that led you to believe that Zach Adams and Clint Bobo had been meth buddies?
That's ridiculous. No.
Why would that be ridiculous?
Jackson's opinion and his theories.
What evidence?
We talked to everybody that Clint Bobo knows, everybody that Holly Bobo knows, Miss Karen and Dana, everybody. And the information we had on drug use from the Bobos was simply that Clint had smoked marijuana 3 times in his life, the last time in 2008. Okay.
So there was no evidence, though, that he had been involved.
No
in
one
drugs.
objected.
One person told us that.
And did you know what his current job was in the spring of 2011?
He worked for a nursing home company that had several different nursing homes, and he was a counselor. So he would go in and work at one nursing home one day and then go to a different one on a different day.
And so do you know whether or not he was drug tested in relation to that job?
I don't.
What about Natalie Bobo and Zach Adams. Did you find any connection between those two in your investigation?
I believe there was a connection between Natalie. I believe there was a connection between Natalie and Zach, or we had information there was,
Okay,
that at one point in time they'd had a relationship.
but when you investigated that, did it lead to anything? Did you ever uncover any evidence that there was in fact a relationship?
I don't,
He said yes.
Well, he said.
Yeah,
I think he
Danny,
said that
listen.
he got
Lysette?
tips, right?
Uh-huh.
He said,
They had information.
did you check out that information and did it turn out to be accurate?
well, the only way we can check that out is by looking at their cell phone and see if they talk. Okay, asking them, hey, have you had something to do with him?
And they are
Did you find any
all
records on
trying to
cell phone
keep
that they were
everything
talking to
out.
one another?
Not that I recall.
And a matter of fact, did you investigate Natalie Bobo with regard to the disappearance?
No,
Well, did you do a preliminary investigation of her?
we interviewed her. We checked out, other people that,
So she was ruled out as a suspect.
Yep.
we have a witness that said it was a man. What do you want me to tell you? I mean, she was
Okay.
ruled out as a suspect, yes.
Okay.
In reality, she was ruled out as a suspect.
Okay, very good. If I can have a minute, Your Honor.
This man is so sick of the stupidity of all of this. And this judge runs this courtroom like every witness that comes up there that it's a proffer and he could just ask and say whatever he wants to say. It's like, you're just supposed to be a gatekeeper. You are not supposed to be actively participating in the litigation of this case.
And are you familiar with people that are chronic meth users? You've come into contact with them, haven't you?
Unfortunately, yes.
Okay. And people that are chronic meth users, have you ever heard the term meth bugs? What is meth bugs?
So it's actually not bugs. It's a phenomenon. There's a chemical in meth that makes people parts of their body dehydrate. So when they dehydrate, it looks like first it looks kind of like a pimple, but
Like a what?
a pimple is it, and then it feels like it itches. It feels like something's crawling in you. It's my education and information. I've never experienced this, but it feels like a mites. They call it mites. So they scratch it.
Yep.
They scratch that area where they're itching, and it's usually on their face. And if y'all ever seen the
Yep.
before and after pictures of meth heads, yeah, that's a lot of what you see on their face.
Yep.
Is this
Them
thing
picking.
called formication, and it's basically a
Picking and
dehydrating
picking and
of
picking and
an
picking and
area of
picking
their
and
body,
picking and picking.
which causes it to itch.
And people that are on meth, do they tend to pick at their scabs and things?
Yep.
Yes,
And why is that?
because their skin feels like it's crawling. It just feels like it's crawling, and there's actually some people that will pick at it and eat the scab because that chemical is in the scab.
What
That-
chemical?
I don't know the chemical, but it's one of the
Blech.
it's whatever gets you high from the meth. So it's there right there at that sore. They pick it and eat it, and they get a little bit of high out of it.
So you're saying it's almost like there's a little meth in the scab that they eat and get high from?
Well, not all of them, but there are people.
That's
that
so
do that.
gross.
Okay.
Oh, drug addiction,
And I
man.
wanted to pass up some photographs to you.
Well, this has been informative. Terry, I rather like you. Let's see how you handle whispering rocks when he
testified
comes
that
up
you
there,
had
because I'm
told-
pretty sure that's who's going to question him.
Terry Brett from the 80s and 90s, just like you tried to pull an old photo of Jason Roger, it absolutely no relevance at all.
He specifically said that he pulled old photos from 30 years. I want to pass this.
Concerning change of appearance.
Yes.
Are we getting close to putting?
Yes, Your Honor. So I'd like to pass the, there's one more.
Are we getting close? Oh my gosh. Yeah, I see prosecutorial
I'd like to pass
misconduct.
these photographs up
Sure
to you.
do.
See if these are in fact
Sure do.
the looking photographs that you were talking about, that you reviewed regarding change in his appearance. One more. I'm sorry.
The last one is a small picture on a booking report.
I'll look
Talks
photo.
about something 10 years ago, 15 years.
What do you care? If he's so clean from doing any of this, what do you
I have a
care?
Tiny little picture that I've torn off of the report. Are these the pictures that you reviewed to see that he had had a change in appearance?
Yes, ma'am.
So I understand the question. Change in appearance from the 80s? That's what you were looking at?
That's all right. Collectively, 223, then vote.
Yeah, he's like, basically, prosecution, sit your butts down and decide who's going to be objecting on this particular witness. Is it you, bad Jennifer, or is it Whispered Rocks? Because we need to know.
All right, let's take recess. All the admonitions we gave you, got that?
Oh, for heaven's sake.
Ms. Thompson, you passed the witness, correct? All right, cross-examination.
Sorry, is it another one?
Yes.
We're getting started. Before we get started, get the testimony down.
Okay.
Shane Sprague.
I sure wish this prosecution would have some sort of decorum in this courtroom and they would take their freaking butts over to the podium where there's a microphone and we can actually see the witness answer the questions that they're asked instead of wandering aimlessly about in the well as if they own the freaking courthouse and can do whatever they very well please, regardless of anyone or anything. I've had it with these two. And Whisper and Rock seemed like a nice guy when he testified in the post-conviction relief hearings, but I am telling you, his behavior in this trial is making me dislike him
2 or 3 days after.
a lot.
That's where you started, right?
Yes, sir. That was where we started, correct.
Shane's trailer that was about 75 yards from Papers of Hollies that had been found on Yellow Springs.
Like I said, that's these over here.
Okay?
I don't know the distance, but it's about right. That's pretty close.
Pretty close.
Yes, sir.
So you did what you should. You sent agents there to talk to them and see what they could see. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
Were you aware that they found drugs and a kit to inject drugs hidden up in the tall area of the house, of the trailer?
I don't remember that per se. Very well could have been.
Were you aware that they found all sorts of holes and stuff that had been dug in the backyard behind the house for hiding places and stuff?
Yes, sir. I remember that.
Were you aware that they saw a burn barrel that they looked at?
I don't recall that. Maybe, but perhaps. Again, it's tough to tell you what somebody else saw.
Were you aware that they saw a vehicle?
His S10 pickup. Yes, in the back.
S10 pickup.
Correct.
And you were aware that they found a sock that had some sort of biological material?
Yes, sir.
Right.
Yes, sir.
Oh, we know all about
So there's
that.
testimony that Shane said he'd been masturbating into the sock. Is that right?
Well, that's what.
Say if he doesn't know it, Shane Austin.
This is precisely what we objected to earlier.
I took from your testimony that whatever Shane Austin said, the agents and you accepted it.
I believe that would be accurate. Yes, sir.
And so it wasn't collected.
No, it was. I don't believe it was collected. No, sir.
So you didn't test it.
No, sir.
Instead, you took Shane Austin's word for it.
Well, and among other things.
Is it smart to take the word of somebody who's living in a trailer with drugs hidden, with hiding holes, about 75 yards from where her property was taken?
It would not be if we didn't have a witness that could describe the abductor. So
We'll get there eventually. But right then, don't you think we should have gotten that? Looking back in retrospect.
in retrospect, I can say that the officers that went there are the best in the world, and they did what they thought they needed to do at that time. And I'm not going to look back and say they should have done this or that.
Okay.
They
So
did what they should have done.
it wasn't collected and it wasn't tested, correct?
I believe that's correct.
And every time thereafter, when the officers went to Mr. Austin's trailer, the sock was nowhere to be found. Correct?
Well, damn, I hope he would have washed it.
Case officer Zachary.
Well, hopefully he cleaned it. I don't know.
Thank you.
Yeah, it wasn't
Thank
there
you,
the one time I went to Shane Austin's trailer.
It went around to be collected and tested anymore. Correct?
I didn't see it.
It wasn't there when you went back,
Shane Austin's trailer.
was it?
We then began talking about a litany of names. Okay?
Yes, sir.
I heard numerous names. I heard James Barnes. I heard Keith Clark. I heard Jason Mill. I heard Jonathan Dodd. I heard Jerry Evans. I heard name after name after name. correct?
Yes, sir.
And you
Yeah.
looked into those people.
Yeah.
correct?
Yes, sir. I did.
And time again, they were excluded, 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 excluded.
Yes, sir.
Correct?
Yes, sir. To the best we could at any particular time.
But yet, for some reason, we talked about them today,
Correct.
but there was nothing there.
Correct.
The rocking,
Then
y'all.
we jumped to Mr. Adams, to Mr. Austin, to Mr. Dylan Adams, and to Mr. Jason Autry. Correct?
Yes, sir.
Names that had come up. Correct?
Yes, sir.
Early on.
That's right.
Names that had kept on coming up in the investigation.
Yes, sir.
If I understood you right, you went to these people to try to establish their whereabouts that day. Correct?
That's correct. I went back and doubled up on what everybody else had done and told me that starting around July, the first time I met them.
Because that's important.
Yes, sir.
These guys whose names keep coming up. One of them who lives right next to her property that's been found in that suspicious trailer with all that stuff. We need to establish where these people were that day. Correct?
We need to establish where they were from 7:45 to 9:40 a.m.
In your minds, 7:45, the time she was abducted.
Yes, sir.
To the time that you think the phone was discarded.
The phone was disconnected. It wasn't started until later on that day.
Okay, so until the time the phone stops.
Correct. Till the battery was taken out.
Time she's taken, it follows the cell phone base.
Correct.
Till the time that's over.
Yes, sir.
And their whereabouts that day, they said they were with each other, except for Jason Autry, right?
Yes, sir.
So your three of your suspects, whose names kept on coming up, said they were all with each other,
Yes, sir.
right?
Correct.
You opined about somebody else's alibi before. You said it was like garbage.
Yes, sir.
You have three suspects whose names keep on coming up, and they're trying to alibi each other. Is that right?
Yes, sir.
Except Mr. Autry, right?
Right. He got up with him later on that day, I believe.
Mr. Autry tells you he gets with him later, correct?
Yes.
But at the critical time, he gives you another alibi, right?
Yes, that's correct.
About working on a farm.
Correct.
Correct.
Yes, sir.
With a coworker there too, correct?
Yes, I believe he said he was working with a Douglas guy.
Let me check that out.
Wait, he was working with, what, somebody called?
OJ or Mike Douglas, or one of those,
Okay.
some Douglas man, I believe.
In fact, it's Mr. Douglas's farm and working with another man.
Right.
We're talking about the same people, right?
Correct.
And when you check that the first time, did that check out?
Yes.
But it didn't stop there, did it?
What do you mean?
I mean, you got information after that, didn't you?
Yes.
And the information after that was that, no, I was wrong. He wasn't at my farm this morning. You need to look at it. Correct?
Yes.
So you have three people, Shane, Dylan, and Zach, alibying each other
Yes, sir.
that day. And then you have Jason Autry, alibi not checking out at all. Correct?
I wouldn't say that. Jason Autry, at one point, he's north of the interstate calling Lisa Autry or Angela Scott, one of his ex-girlfriends. So his phone record showed that he was a different part other than where Holly was. And on top of that, Jason Autry's huge.
You remember what you all said.
Okay, all right.
Let's take this. I want to help you.
Can we just finish the answer first?
Yeah, I wanted to come back to it. But
Okay.
I can take it in pieces. I think it'd be easier. Even though these farmers had told you, no, he wasn't with us, you said that you have his cell phone north of the interstate that morning, correct?
Yes, sir.
Talking to, as you remember it, either his wife or his girlfriend, Angela Scott.
Right.
correct?
Yes, sir. That's right.
And you're right about that.
Yeah.
6:50 in the morning. Okay? He is up in Camden, north of the interstate.
Okay.
Leaving his girlfriend's house.
Okay.
So
Okay.
Okay. I'm with you. All right.
Are crimes always committed by one person?
Sexual crimes are invariably committed by one person. Sexual predators work alone.
So that was an assumption that you were making back then, correct?
Yes.
That this was a sexual abduction, whatever you want to call it, right?
Well, when you rule out all the other motives for a kidnapping, you're left with an abduction for sexual purposes. Sexual predators invariably work alone.
I think I understand what you said.
Okay.
I think the answer to that is yes. It was an assumption that you were making.
It was an assumption that the behavior analysis unit told us to make
This
based on
assumption-
research of all the crimes that they've looked at over and over again, these sexual
Get him,
crimes.
Terry.
They tell us, rule out, don't even consider looking at two people. Don't even look at it. Look at one person. It happened for one person.
And is that assumption back then what led you to ignore these alibis between Dylan and Zach and Shane about being with each other, about Jason's alibi not checking out? Is that what happened? Is that why you ignored that?
I didn't
No.
ignore it, sir.
I
didn't
know
ignore it at
why.
all, but I've got eyes, and I look at Jason Autry. Okay, if Clint Bobo is lying about what the abductor looked like, then I don't know who did it. Okay, we'll never know. But if he's telling the truth, it was not Jason Autry. You can go through that as much as you want to, but it always comes back to that.
It's the same assumption that one man did it.
There was only one
It
man
always comes
there.
back to what you just talked about, the person that took her into the woods. Doesn't fit the description of Jason Autry.
It doesn't.
Doesn't fit the description of Zach Adams.
It doesn't.
But you know what? You know who Clint Bobo said it fit the description of? Shane Austin.
Okay. If Shane Austin had a car at the time, then-
Shane Austin had a car at the time, what he did. You know what Zach had at the time?
Connor, can you please ask questions? He's not asking questions.
He just did. Did you know what car Zach had?
Zach had at the time?
Sorry.
Zach had I believe it was supposed to be tore up, but he had a white Nissan pickup at the time.
Supposed to be
Shane
tore up.
didn't
Okay,
have a
so-
vehicle,
Black Rhino.
remember?
Do you remember that or not?
Well, there was one lead that came in that Jason Autry and Zach Adams were fishing one day, pulling a boat with a black truck. So I assume you might be right there.
Two trucks.
Okay.
Including the white one that you said was supposed to be tore up.
Right.
But it surprised you to learn that Zach Adams told investigators that around that time he was driving that white truck.
Nothing would surprise me at this point.
If we sit here in 2017, knowing a lot more about this case, you stopped on this case in 2013.
Correct.
correct?
Yes, sir.
Your testimony has been almost a trip into the past, into the first 2 or 3 years of this investigation. But you
Isn't
can't
that
tell
what
us
it's
anything
supposed to
about
be?
the 3 and 4 years after that.
You're right. I don't know what y'all done since then. What state since then?
And he was driving a white truck. That's very interesting, isn't it?
Your Honor, I object to this. The
That
prosecutor,
was a statement, asked a question.
but also the prosecutor's putting into evidence that Zach Adams admitted at some point he was driving a white truck. I don't think that's accurate, Your Honor. I do not believe it's accurate that he ever said on that day
The
he was driving a
jury
white
can
truck.
go by what the.
But he has to stop saying incorrect
Is that guy's driving a white truck? Is that it?
statements. What on?
Is it interesting? Yeah, it could be.
Were you aware that Mr. John Babb saw a white truck leaving the scene fast that morning?
Yes, sir.
Were you aware that Natalie Boba had seen Zach's truck driving by her in Hollis?
No, I wasn't aware of that. Or I don't remember it if I was aware of it at the time. I remember John Babb, though.
Did you assume his truck was tore up? Correct?
The information I had was his truck was tore up, and I had no reason to doubt it. I don't know if it was or not, but I didn't meet him until July.
Let me correct you a little bit. You said you have no reason to doubt it. You mean you had no reason because your involvement stopped in 2000?
Correct, correct. I had no reason then to doubt what I'd heard.
You showed a picture, and there was a picture from that Am Farm video, right?
Yes, sir.
That's one of the Wade Parsons.
It is.
It's from a time that's well after the critical time.
Yeah, yes,
I
sir.
believe you said about 25 or 45, whatever it is, but
I believe the one that Ms. Thompson was saying that might have been hers was around 11, or after 11.
the
Something.
critical time period you were talking about, though, ended around 9:30 or 9:45 when the phone was going, right?
Yes, sir, 9:40.
And this picture is from at least an hour and 15 or an hour and 20, whatever it is,
Right,
minutes later, right?
Right.
And it's a dark truck, and you can see in the distance, just like you can. Well, you spent hours looking at this Am Farm video.
Yeah, and all you can tell is it's a dark truck,
You don't know whose truck it is.
Correct.
Could be my truck, right?
Where were you at that day?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Could be my truck, correct?
Right.
Could be anybody's truck, correct?
I like him a lot.
It wasn't mine, but just about anybody else, I guess.
Anybody's truck, including Dylan Adams' truck. Were you aware he had a dark pickup truck?
Yes, that's what the information we had was they were in Dylan's truck that day.
Dylan Adams' pickup truck headed south, correct?
Yes.
Sure, we're in Dylan's
Dylan
truck.
Adams' pickup truck headed south. It would have gone by the area where some of that property was found, right?
Yes, where her cell phone was thrown out.
That morning.
It was thrown, I believe it was thrown out that morning. It could have been thrown out up to maybe 10 or 11 days after it because it wasn't found until around the 24th.
They alibi each other.
Yes, sir.
This white truck is interesting. Zach never told you he went to the river that morning, did he?
Zach? No, he did not.
And Jason never told you he went to the river that morning, did he?
As best I can remember, both of them said they met up at Victor Densmore's house. Victor was doing some work for Dottie that owns Dottie's Marine. He was building a garage or something. They met up there. Shane and Pat got into a fight, but then afterwards they went to a bar and they went and got some drugs, and then they went to a bar and played cards till 10 o'clock that night.
And the day ended, right?
Right.
That morning,
Well,
whatever this day is.
Mr. Austin told me his mom came and got him, so that was the end of his.
So let's come back to, I want to talk about something you just said.
And that's what Mama said
So,
too.
my question.
Okay, I'm
Did
sorry.
either Zach or Jason tell you that they went to the river that morning?
No, absolutely not.
Absolutely not.
Right.
But Zach did say the day ended sort of like you described it, correct?
Yes.
Did he not tell you that the police had to come to his house that night?
Who? Which one?
Zach.
Did Zach tell?
Your Honor, I think Mr. Davis testified that it was Shane Austin that told him he went to play cards with Mr. Adams. I think it's
You can ask a question.
Zach Adams tell you the police had to come to his house that night?
If he did, I don't recall it.
Did he tell you that he was trying to get guns that night?
No.
Did he tell you that he was all emotional and crazy that night?
objection, Your Honor. That's some type of conclusion that the district attorney is drawing.
There is,
Did Zach have them there?
No, sir.
what is happening?
Interesting. Yes, sir. A couple things you said would be interesting.
As we said, because we sit here in 2017, we stopped looking at them.
I looked at Zach personally a total of 2 or 3 times. So whenever that was over, whenever the last one was over with, I stopped looking at him.
You stopped looking at them even though that property had been found close to Shane's.
Correct.
You stopped looking at them even though Warren Rainey had seen what he saw. Zach running around acting however you want to call it. Correct?
Yes, sir.
You stopped looking at them even though their alibis were with each other. Right?
Because their phone records
Stop looking at them even
supported
though
their
Jason
story.
Autry's alibi was, your word earlier for Mr. Britt's, garbage.
Well,
Yeah.
If you got phone records saying he called at 6:50, and what I remember when I had Mr. Kevin Helms with Shelby County Sheriff's Department check out their phone records, what he told me is that they're not, it's not consistent with Holly's phone records. That's what I recall. If that's wrong, then so be it. But that's what I remember about checking out the phones.
And at that time, as you explained to us, you're making an assumption based on things you've been told and experts or whatever, you're making an assumption that one person committed this crime.
Well, I would prefer you call it a logical conclusion.
Very good.
Okay.
You're making a logical conclusion at that point in, you don't have to put his exact date on it, but 2011, 2012, that one person committed this crime.
Yes, sir.
Correct?
Yes.
So
It's always tea time. You don't understand why so much was overlooked. If you haven't had an opportunity to watch any of the post-conviction relief hearings, you would completely understand why so much was overlooked. Zach Adams' attorney, Jennifer Thompson, was, as you can see in the courtroom, steamrolled over by the prosecution and also by the judge. She had little to no support in her own legal team. It was basically her doing all of the work because there was so much infighting and it was insanity. And so that's kind of what has caused all of us to take another look at the Holly Boba or the Zach Adams trial, because I've never seen this kind of evidence to support a new trial for someone as much as it does for Zach Adams. And the two reasons are ineffective counsel and prosecutorial misconduct. And I would think that he only needs one to get a new trial. So, you haven't seen any of them? If you watch them, you should go watch when Jennifer Nichols, the prosecuting attorney, is questioned. It's very eye-opening. And Melissa, you're asking, I've only seen some parts of the new hearings. Was it good or bad? Jennifer, who was drunk some of the time or something like that? No, I don't think anybody was inebriated in any way. Jennifer Nichols has a way of behaving that one could say her affect can lead you to believe that's an issue. But oh no. We're going to review after we finish the trial. We're going to do some other reviews and deep dives. We may be on good old Zach Adams until the beginning of the year because he has more post-conviction relief hearings coming up at the end of this month. And Ava's just asking, can we watch all of the post-conviction hearings together after this? I mean, I can certainly try to schedule it out and see what we can get in. I can't so quickly do a marathon like I've done since Friday. So Mr. Demeanor will kill me.
if Jason Autry's phone started off in Camden, well, he must not have done it, correct?
That's not the only thing, but yes.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, right. I agree with that.
You didn't account for that time, and this is hindsight. You're not on trial.
Oh, I understand.
Okay, this is hindsight. This is 2017. All right. You didn't account for the fact that more than one person could have been involved.
I wouldn't say that I didn't account for that.
Well, if you stop looking, if one of the reasons that you stop looking at Jason is that he started out in Camden, well, what if he was abducted by Zach and Shane and Jason met them later that morning? You see what I'm saying? Like, if more than
He
one
was
person had committed
abducted?
this crime, there'd be different dynamics going on.
What happened? What now Jason Autry's been
I
abducted?
don't know that I agree with that because there's a dynamic of the reward going on, and
Now, that doesn't have anything to do with, you mentioned Jason's phone record started out in Camden.
Right.
So I'm like, well, that doesn't fit.
Okay.
And the behavioral scientist or whoever it was gave you information that caused you to make a logical conclusion that one person committed this type of crime. Okay. So based on those phone records and him being in Camden, that told you something, right?
Right.
But the problem is that this crime is committed by more people. If Jason committed this crime that somebody else abducted, if he came to them later on, then the information you had back then didn't tell you anything.
Ay. This is convoluted.
Didn't tell you anything, correct?
I don't know how to respond to that without giving you my opinion as to the merits of that. So I don't know what to tell you.
part of this 2017 versus 2012. I don't know what date you want to put on.
June of 2013,
I don't
Whispering
know
Rocks,
everything
get
that
it
y'all have
together.
found out, about these guys. I will say that.
The name Natalie Bobo came up. I meant to ask you this before when they were talking about other suspects or something.
Right.
And I saw the reaction. She's not an other suspect, correct?
Right.
But it came up like that. All right. Were you aware that she had been stripping at Teasers, which is less than a mile
Sir.
from Mr. Adams' house?
That is exotic dancing.
Yes, I know that. I don't say
Stop
it has
the
anything to do with what we're
shade.
here for today, but yes, I knew that.
Were you aware that previously she had lived before this crime happened in a little house with Rebecca Earp?
Yes.
Were you aware that she had met Zach Adams on more than one occasion for this?
It's a small town. Half of
I
them are
think I would. I know
related.
that she knew him somehow.
Were you aware that she'd been trading sex for drugs with this man?
Objection, Your Honor.
You can ask if he's aware of that.
I never witnessed that. No.
Yeah, it's
Not aware.
completely not relevant what Natalie Bobo was doing.
It's terrible.
This prosecution got way too personally invested in this
His
case.
size was
It's
good for the
it's
Dr. size, right?
The
unhealthy.
size was exactly what we're looking for.
You said, we make up two ribs, so that's what you're talking. Okay.
The size was good for the Dr. size, correct?
His size perfectly matched what Clint described. Perfectly.
Just like Shane's.
No, not just like Shane's.
Clint Bobo testified same body type and everything as Shane Austin.
Excuse me.
Did Clint Bobo testified the same body shape and everything as Shane Austin?
When did he testify?
That surprised
Well, Clint's a very honest young man. I would, if he says that, I believe him.
you? And
But you're forgetting part of it
go ahead.
because the body type also goes with the hair. And Shane Austin had reddish, blondish hair, and Clint said he had black hair.
Terry
Clint-
Britt is in jail. Terry
Shane
Dykes
Austin?
has a law firm.
Yeah, reddish, blondish, not black hair. He did not have black hair for sure.
And were you aware that Zach Adams told Karen Bobo that that man that walked her into the woods was, quote, Shane?
Your Honor, I object to this.
You heard the testimony from Mr. Bobo herself.
And she said that he said that the man that walked her into the woods.
This
was
is like
Shane.
hearsay on top of hearsay.
Ms. Bobo.
She testified about speaking with Mr. Adams at the end of her testimony. She said she walked away with two things. The first thing was that he had some sort of spook card that he could call people from different numbers. And she said the second thing was that Zach said that Shane was the one that walked into the woods.
Okay, you can ask.
I did not know that. I did not know that.
How would he know what she testified to? He's not supposed to be watching any of this.
He had to change.
Am I the only one that understands how a courtroom
Yes.
operates? I don't even have a law
Don't
license.
know or don't remember whichever one. I know this is years. The change of appearance was weeks before or weeks after. You just can't say it.
Well,
Correct?
I can tell you what the people were telling me, what they said. I remember what they told me, and they can't remember if it was, if it was before or after, right around that time.
Except for Mr. Britt's son, though, right?
Terry Kenneth,
Terry Kenneth. You remember talking to him?
I do.
When IR 420. That's early on investigation because now it's up to almost 3,000 or something.
Yeah.
IR 420. Isn't it true? His son told you that
Objection to hearsay, Your Honor.
he talked about information other people provided him about Mr. Britt's change of appearance. This is what this goes
He
to.
can be
Which the state
cross-examined.
objected to.
He can be cross-examined on this.
Isn't it true that you
It's
asked
hearsay
Mr.
on
Terry
top of her
Kenneth, his son,
hearsay.
whether or not his father, Mr. Britt, had changed his appearance?
I'm sure I would have asked him that. Yeah.
And isn't it true that he replied, Dad had a long ponytail after he got out of prison? I'm not sure when he cut it, but it was maybe around 2 years ago. And that IR is written in February 2012.
He did cut his ponytail. He did cut his ponytail when we did the search warrant. We got it. So he did cut the ponytail, but I don't know when. His hair now, or the last time I saw him, is the size of mine. It's the length of mine. So what I'm
So I understand the idea that he's changed his appearance.
right.
You admit that you had information that he had changed his appearance, he cut his hair, ponytail, some 2 years before. But you didn't know if he took other steps weeks before or weeks after with regard to the length of his hair.
There you go. Yes, sir. That's correct.
Talk about his phone and his wife's phone, correct? And when I heard you talk about it, you were talking about times from like noon on that day, correct?
Yes, sir.
Because
Is it fair
there
to say
wasn't
that
anything
there was no
before.
activity on his phone or his wife's phone that morning, like 8, 9, 10, 11, all that stuff?
That's correct. There was no activity.
So we know about it if there were.
Yes, sir. We would have got that information.
And would you agree with me, there's absolutely nothing about that that's inconsistent about those phone records? Inconsistent with Mr. Britt and his wife traveling up to Allgood that morning, if they did it before noon, because you would have no idea, right?
Except she was
You
at
see what I'm saying?
work.
About the phone records?
No, I don't agree with that. I don't agree with that. Go ahead.
Between 8 and 12, you don't know where the phones are.
Right.
So for all you know, they could be at Allgood Salvage or the Allgood Salvage. right down the
Except
street,
she
or they
was
could be
actually at work.
Wherever, you just don't know.
I don't know where their phones are at that time. Correct. But they went to Camden after lunch.
I'm talking about the
Yes.
Right. But well, they,
morning. I'm talking about the morning.
Right.
You don't know.
I don't know.
She was at work.
You
He
had
called
Smith
her to,
listen.
get
to
her
police
out.
calls. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
And
it's not
one of the voices was
complicated.
like a police officer's voice or something. Somebody you knew didn't commit the crime.
Yes, sir.
And Clint said, well, I think it may be that. But I can't tell the difference between this other one. And so you went back to him again and again, I think maybe even 3 times.
Actually, it was 2.
It's true that he never told you. I'm 100% certain that's the voice I heard in that garage.
He
Right.
testified
Okay.
it was
And when you
80%. I wrote
played
it
those
down.
voices to him, did you play Shane Austin's voice?
No.
Did you wiretap on his house? Right?
Why would you pay?
Yeah.
Shane Austin
Why is that
didn't
fun?
look like him.
Yes.
Searched his house.
What are we
Yes.
doing? Bizarro world. That's what we're doing. Up is
A
down,
single drop. of
right is
photo,
wrong.
Right.
Correct.
Not a single Holly Bobo fingerprint. Correct.
Correct.
Not anything linked to her DNA in that house. Correct.
Nuclear DNA, no.
Not a single one of her personal possessions or anything that she owned that she had with her that morning.
Correct.
What's the stepping stuff he's doing? He missed his calling. He needs to be in theater. Trust me, I know. I know, Melissa. I feel like I'm insane too. That's why I had to put Tales of the Bizarro World.
Yes, sir.
3.5, 4 years later, we're here today. Correct.
Yes, sir.
We can all do math, Whispering Rocks.
It's Zach Adams' cell phone that morning when it was utilized at about 8:19 through 9 a.m. was hitting on the same tower that Holly's phone was pinging on.
Objection, Your Honor.
You can actually be square.
You aware of that?
I think her objection is that that's facts, not in
No,
evidence.
there was one point in time where Zach's phone was on a different tower and Holly's phone was on.
Absolutely there was. While Dylan was getting rid of it. And he and Jason were driving her
Objection,
to the
Your
river.
Honor. That's a mischaracterization.
Question, you can ask a question.
Between 8:19 and 9 o'clock, were you aware of
No,
the
you
Zach
need to
Adams
tell
phone
him that that has to be stricken from the
was pinging on
record.
same tower?
Well, if Zach was at home, that would make sense.
If Zach were at home, or if Zach were at Shane's, or if Zach were at Shane's grandmother's farm, they're all the same
Your Honor.
place.
He's being asked to testify as to location. I tried to get him to testify, the state objected when I was going into location on direct, and now they're asking him to testify as back where the phones say on location. If they're gonna proceed with this line of questioning, I absolutely want to ask him questions on redirect about the location of those telephones.
We got
You go,
more
good Jennifer.
specifics about the location. I understand the objection. I'll keep it general.
Okay,
like
all right.
But I don't understand the question because Holly's cell phone moved. 8:17, she's on the home tower. 8:26, she's on the next tower. And then at 8:57, she's on a different cell tower. And then 9:02, 9:06, she's on a different tower. And then 9:25, she's on a different tower. So I don't understand the question because
I'm asking you questions that would you admit would be probably better answered by Mr. Frizzell?
a better answer because if you say the one tower that Holly, that doesn't make sense to me because she was on several.
She was on several.
It's a very good man to ask.
So he drew circles of where her pings were.
But we couldn't make hide nor hair of
Zach
it.
Adams, what tower his phone was
Objection,
using.
Your Honor. This is again asking him questions in supposition about locations of the cell phone.
Objection overruled.
He would be the person I'd ask about that.
He'd be the person I would ask about
He'd
that.
be the person even you would ask about.
Correct.
Pick a prettier bitch. with his phone.
Oh my gosh, we're back on this again. He loves to
You were
say
Zach
this.
Adams said when asked, I can't clear my name because I'm too far involved in it.
No, I never remember that.
Were you aware that Zach Adams said, I let Shane hit it?
No.
Were you aware that Zach Adams confessed his involvement in this crime to 2 different people?
No, sir.
Jailhouse snitches.
That's a mischaracterization of the evidence.
You just have
Yes,
to
it
say
is.
what the evidence shows, okay?
Yeah.
But the other thing is, given the date he departed, his employment. I'm not sure some of that existed.
Yeah, you needed to rule differently, dip.
Those things didn't exist in 2013.
Yeah,
Christina,
so
if
why
a
are you
typical-
asking him?
Right. Her body was recovered before or after you left?
After.
After you left. Were you aware of where it was found?
I have been made aware since then.
Off the interstate, cell phone tower, back in the woods,
Yes, sir. A little bit farther north than I thought she was taken. Just a little bit farther.
between two sawmills.
Yes, sir.
Were you aware that Dylan Adams hung out at one of those sawmills?
Yeah, with Corey Tubbs, I believe.
Were you aware that Zach Adams had been seen at that sawmill?
I don't remember that.
Melissa, I need to get ready for Festivus. That's what I have to say because I got a lot of grievances I need to air. A lot. Most of them from here, this trial.
Sometimes I think, or my opinion, or my logical conclusion, you said that, right?
Yes, sir.
Would you agree with me, though, that we got to base what we do on evidence and on proof?
Yes, sir.
Further direction?
Get him good, Jennifer.
Now, during your investigation of Terry Britt, you actually got a lot of his financial records.
I have to tell you, of all the people that were cross-examined, he's one of the best that I saw. I mean, I'm very pleased with how he answered questions. It was Festivus on what? Help me out. What day was Festivus on? Because it can't be on Christmas Eve. Oh, Demeanor household has plans for Christmas Eve and Christmas. It's a big old deal.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Okay, and some of those records came from stores like Walmart.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, and then you were able to review a lot of the past purchases he had made there. weren't you?
Yes, ma'am. And when I say I got him, an FBI agent obtained some of them, and Brent Booth obtained some of
And you
them.
got them from places like Radio Shack. Can you remember some of the places you got his records from?
Yeah, Radio Shack was one. Ace Hardware.
Ace Hardware. We said Walmart. What about his banking records? Did you get banking records?
We did.
While they're reviewing those, I want to ask you, you knew about the John Babb white truck connection, didn't you?
That came out. They came out very early. We heard that day.
Okay, and so why was it that you were not concerned about the white truck that John Babb saw? Explain to the jury.
First of all, it would have been going, according to what he told us, around 7:30. It was well before the kidnapping, and he was so far away from it. He just knew it had a loud sound. It was a white full-size pickup truck. Not a whole lot of extra information to go on. And we've got Ed Barnes going from his house.
So first of all, which direction was the white pickup truck going?
He said it was going southbound.
Okay. And
So-
what did you know about Holly's phone?
Holly's phone was traveling northbound.
That's a problem.
7:45 to 8.
This is where people get into phone technicalities, Judge, where this witness is not familiar with these.
You brought it up in cross.
Okay? He
Yeah.
is not a cell phone tower,
Right.
cell phone expert.
But you knew in general, Holly's phone was traveling northbound.
Yeah, we drove the route
Okay, so, but,
20 times, so we knew you had to go north to be able to get to the tower, to the
okay,
next tower.
so in order to, and you said you also, Ed James Barnes, how did you put John Babb's information together with what James Barnes had said?
Okay, so James Barnes is outside getting oil for his truck, getting ready to go work, and at 7:47, he's calling his mom and saying that he heard the screams. Well, the whole time he's pretty confident that there was nothing else, no other vehicles coming down the road. On top of that, there was another neighbor that lived at the end of the road who was outside from like 7:25 to 7:45.
He's the lead investigator.
This has already been testified to. This is, he took this information from John Babb, and Ed Barnes is already into the record, and this is how he analyzed it to,
It's something that's already testified, that's fine, Judge, but I think it's talking about somebody else.
we'll just stick with James Barnes and.
Okay, James Barnes
John
and another
Babb.
neighbor was outside, and neither one of them reported that they saw another vehicle.
Okay,
So what that probably says is sometime after 7:47, when Barnes is gone, the vehicle comes into play to remove Holly from the scene, which fits with her cell phone moving the area around 8 o'clock. You know, at 8 o'clock, it starts moving from the house.
so you made the determination that the truck that John Babb saw was too early in time to be related to Holly's kidnapping.
That's correct.
I want to pass forward some receipts. Pass-
Me either. It's always tea time.
Now, do you recognize these two receipts?
I wore out a jury
These
at
are
18
two
years old
receipts
in a
where-
criminal case.
that we got from the Brits.
'Cause
I'm
I
not sure
wouldn't
which one
budge.
to be.
Now, this is when you did the Walmart record pull, is that right?
That's correct. And they purchased a cell phone on March the 11th, 2011, and then purchased another one on March the 12th, 2011.
Okay. And did they also, is there anything else you see that they purchased along with the cellular telephone?
Looks like they got 1,000 minutes on it. Yeah, 1,000 minutes.
On one or both phones?
I don't see it on both of them.
All lies that he testified to. Because he was like, no, we don't put minutes on. Blah, 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 blah. Y'all remember that?
SD 684.
Okay, anyway,
I don't see it.
And what are the dates on this two?
March 11th, 2011.
will you
March
pass me that one? I'll have that one marked first, the 11th.
And then the one on the 12th.
Yeah, I sat on a drunk driving case when I was 18 years old. I had just barely turned
I'm
18.
gonna pass you up another.
And that poor jury, the other jurors, they were ready to kill me, but I wouldn't budge. I believed what I believed, even back then.
And what is that a receipt for?
This is a receipt from Walmart again, where 1,000 minutes were purchased. Two different lots of 1,000 minutes were purchased on April the 11th, 2011.
Ooh.
And these again came from Mr. Britt's home?
Correct.
Not from Mr. These are
Right,
Mr.
from-
Britt's receipts that you got from Walmart, is that right?
That's correct.
I'd like to have this.
Odd receipts to
and then
keep.
I'm gonna pass you one more.
That's a 226 letter mark.
I wish I could have. It's always tea time. I think my age played
Okay, and then
against
this
me.
is a final Walmart receipt. What do you see that's interesting or significant on this receipt?
Well, he bought a, looks like he bought a chainsaw and some motor oil, different things for a chainsaw.
I don't like this one. And what's the date on that?
April the 29th, 2011.
April
29.
Oh, yeah, the chainsaw he didn't buy. Do we all remember that testimony too?
Now,
Oops, looks like he did.
just to be clear, one of the ways that you ruled Zach Adams out,
I don't know if she ladies or not.
I don't even know what the question is. He was objecting
you
before
testified
she was
under
2 words in.
cross-examination regarding some of the locations, and I don't want you to get into details and technical issues, but you used the cell phone records of Holly and Zach Adams to make a determination regarding whether or not it would have been possible for him to be involved.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, and using those records, you were referring to something at 826. What specifically were you referring to?
826, Holly's cell phone is transitioned from her home tower up to the northwest tower. So she's on the northwest portion of Decatur County.
And what about around the exact same time? Where was Zach Adams' telephone?
I believe he was on the Cox Road Tower, which is the northeast corner of Decatur County. That
How
tower,
does he
is right on the
remember
interstate,
all
so
of this?
towers on the interstate, they have less range than other towers because they have to take all the calls
Okay.
that come through on the interstate.
So how far apart physically are those two towers from one another?
I'm not sure, but I would say probably 10 to 15 miles.
And so
That's
that
a
was
long
within- Did
ways.
that happen again at another time also? That morning, was there another time when when the two towers the phones were utilizing were miles apart from each other?
It might have been, I was just looking for one time, so it might have been more than one.
Okay. And Zach Adams, what did he tell you he had done that morning?
He woke up, Rebecca went to work, his girlfriend at the time. Dylan gets up, he talks to Shane Austin. They decide they're going to go get messed up that day. So Dylan and Zach go to Shane's house. They
And
pick him up.
did they say what car they were in?
They were in Dylan's truck.
Okay. They go to Shane's house. What happens next?
They pick up Shane. They go to the interstate, get gas, get $5 worth of gas. They see the SUVs coming southbound. They go from there to another convenience store. And I asked both of them how they were acting that day. How was the other one acting? Did they act strange or unusual? So at the second gas station there in Parsons, they got more gas and then went and bought Xanax. Shane supposedly had money, so they bought $200 worth of Xanax and got messed up. And that was.
I got the money out of the ATM to do that.
Besides going to the house that Victor Dinsmore was working on and seeing Jason Autry.
That would have been
Now,
handy
driving Shane home, is that a place
evidence.
that you would pass? Would you pass Dottie Cooley's house? if you were driving Chang home from Parsons?
Can you give me the address of it? I don't remember.
She's on Pew Road, if her house.
She's on Pew Road. Depending on which way you go, you should have passed.
Um,
It's right there, close to Shane's.
Now, would it surprise you if that 911 call that came in on the night of April the 13th at Zach Adams' house, if it were said 3 times on that call that Zach Adams was looking for a vehicle to drive, that he had no vehicle?
No, that would be consistent with what I knew at the time.
Okay.
That's right.
And would it surprise you if on that 911 call, it was said that Zach Adams did not have a gun?
No, it wouldn't surprise me. He's a convicted felon, I believe.
Okay.
Sorry, I didn't mean to say that.
The
And we
physical
heard
description of
those.
Zach, what did Zach Adams' appearance, what was his physical appearance in April of 2011?
He
Does
was,
he look like what he looks now?
no, he was fattened up nicely. He was 135 pounds is what I documented when I talked to him. 6'2", 6'3",
Scrawny.
really tall. His hair was much shorter, but his face looked totally different. It was sunken in. It
Yeah.
looked sort of like the Joker back then. You know,
The
really,
Joker?
yeah, really skinny.
From
Whatever
the Batman TV show or from
the
the
comics,
movies?
the comics.
The comics, okay.
Right.
And what about Jason Autry's physical appearance in April of 2011?
It was impressive. He is huge. He was a lot taller than Brent Booth, and Brent Booth is probably 6'3", 6'4". So I would say Autry is every bit of 6'6", if not maybe taller.
Okay, and Shane Austin's physical description. What was his physical description back in 2011?
Shane was right about my height. Maybe I saw
How tall are you?
about 5'10", if I stretch it out really good. So we were about even.
What
he-
about his weight?
His weight, well, I would say, would it be around, I'm not good at that, but I would say probably between 180 and 220, 225, somewhere in there. So his weight could have been.
I
within
put my
frame of what we're
sunglasses
looking at.
on my head and
What about
forget they're
his,
there.
hair color and hair length.
He had real short.
So that's what happens
reddish
after
hair.
55.
Would you consider it black?
No, absolutely not.
And what about Dylan's physical appearance, Dylan Adams?
He's rather tall himself. Not exactly as tall as Zach, but probably 6'1". He was slender, but not as thin as Zach. So I'd say he probably weighed 165. 6'1", 165 is the best I can give you.
And how was his hairstyle?
He had short hair at the time I saw him. He had dark hair.
So Terry Britt's alibi, to be clear about the alibi that Terry Britt gave you, where did he say that he started that day? Where did he go?
He said that he got up, got coffee that morning, and I asked him what time he got up, and he says, well, my feet can't hit the floor without my wife knowing it. You know, he made a false statement that he was trying to deflect. But at that point, you know, he says, well, I don't know exactly what time. He said, I usually get up between 6 and 7, sometimes earlier. Probably institutionalized, you know, breakfast is at 7 o'clock in the morning, you better be up to eat it. So, but he got up really early. Jan got up sometime later on. Jan gets up with the dogs barking. He had chihuahuas in the house. She gets up with the dogs barking. So Jan couldn't tell me what time she woke up that morning, but she thought it was around between 9 and 10. Well, if it'd been 10, you know, with the dogs barking, that was interesting.
Okay, so where did he say they went first?
The first place they went is to All Good Salvage to check out the bathtubs. They saw them, but they called Bucks because
Is it they called Bucks?
no, they went to Bucks.
Okay.
I'm sorry, they went to Bucks
Okay.
after going to All Goods, and Bucks only had a 2-piece or only had a 3-piece. They couldn't. It wasn't exactly fit. Now Bucks does not carry bathtubs in their store, but he says he sees them and it wasn't what he had, so he went back to All Goods, bought the bathtub. He's coming back that morning, and the officers come to him, and they were together the rest of the day.
And he did not say they went back to Camden anytime in the afternoon.
No, he said the officers got there by lunch, okay, and then that was it. They were together the rest of the day.
Okay.
But the officers got there 3:30.
Now, when you were searching Terry Britt's house, did you find some hairs that were consistent with Holly Bobo's hair?
We asked scientific testimony regarding the comparison of hair machines, Adrian.
I'm not asking for microscopical, but are you aware of hairs that were found there that were consistent with being Holly Bobo's hair? And if so, where?
So there were hairs that were found that were microscopically identical to Holly's, found in the vans that we took to the crime lab.
And which van was that?
It was the caravan. It was in some rope debris in the back.
In rope?
A rope, yes, a rope.
Now,
But we tested that with DNA, and it did not match Holly's.
okay, did you do regular DNA testing?
I don't think he did any DNA testing. Said yet tonight this one hearsay wasn't hers.
He's already said DNA excluded, okay?
Were you aware that Zach Adams had said some very crude things about Holly Bobo when you were doing your investigation?
I mentioned that to him quite forcefully.
Okay, you were asked about, were you aware of any specific statements, but do you remember generally what you were aware of?
I know he told one female that you're going to end up in a hole just like Holly, or you're going to end up in a well just like Holly. He told someone, or allegedly told, I wasn't there. He allegedly told another guy something very bad about Holly.
Okay, and during your investigation, did you find that other people had also said or made crude statements about Holly Bobo?
I'm not objecting to the general question, but we're gonna start getting into hearsay statements.
You can answer.
This case was different than any other case I've ever heard of in my life, because people like Zach Adams talking, running their mouth, there was many people that would do that.
Mhm.
And, I just say, thank you. Good. We don't have anything else to do. Let's go interview this idiot who's saying her head's in a freezer.
So was there actually someone who said that Holly's head was in the freezer?
Yeah, head's in the freezer. She's in my basement. We had all kind of garbage.
Yep.
All kinds of.
Yep.
I'm not doing that, but Your Honor, the state has made.
Your
a big deal
Honor.
about
About what Mr. Adams has said, and I would like to go a little bit into the fact that there were multiple other people who were making crude comments and taking
You
quote credit.
answered that, and I think you might have varied from your question.
Okay. Were there people who were taking credit for Holly Bobo's disappearance?
There were several people that were making statements to that effect. Yes.
And did you check those people out? Did it turn out that they were in fact responsible?
Right. We checked them out, and they were not responsible.
Okay. And how many times do you think you got in reports where people had made statements or claimed responsibility or?
I would estimate more than 10, but less than 20.
And so when you were investigating Mr. Adams, you were aware of some of these statements that had been made
Yes, I was.
by him.
Yes, ma'am.
And let me ask you this, in all your years of investigation, when somebody is in jail and comes forward with information in jail,
I'm gonna object to sort of opinion testimony. Is that what this is?
It's not opinion
What are we
testimony.
asking?
Not good approach.
I'd like to get this witness finished up.
right? So I'm just asking him if, in his years of experience, when people come forward in jail and are jailhouse snitches and say, somebody has said something to me in jail, is that something he takes seriously, or is that something that he investigates pretty thoroughly because that is a frequent occurrence?
All right, thank you.
I've had plenty of jailhouse snitches that ended up giving really good information.
Okay.
I've had others that just blowing smoke. They didn't really know. But yeah, it's helped in a number of investigations.
Okay, so it can go either way. Is that what you're saying?
That's correct.
Okay. No further questions.
Very quick. You mentioned a second ago or some minutes ago about her cell phone again and how it traveled.
Yes,
Is that correct?
Yes.
Would you agree with me that answers to those questions, where her cell phone was for a particular time, where it was, where Zach Adams' phone was for the time, and where it wasn't, where anybody's phone that we want to know about?
The
where it was
rocking.
and where it wasn't? Would you agree with me that Mike Purcell is a better person to answer that question than you?
Asked
It's
and
hard to,
answered.
but I would agree to.
I object.
And you were asked what Zach told you with regard to his whereabouts that day, correct?
Yes, sir.
And the three of them, quote, alibied each other,
Yes, sir.
correct?
Yes, sir.
Finally, were you aware that Mr. Austin admitted to going to the coon?
Yes, sir. He admitted that to me, actually.
That's all.
One final follow-up question, Your Honor. Now, you said that these three people alibied each other, but actually they didn't alibi each other for the time period when Holly's phone was actually moving, did they?
Right. That's accurate. They weren't all together at the same time. Zach's over here, Shane's over here.
It
So
was actually later in the day when they said they got together.
that's correct.
So all three of them, for the time period that Holly's phone was moving and the actual time she was taken from her house, they didn't have an alibi for that time, did they?
Me too, Melissa.
Well, they had an alibi, whether you believe it or not, I don't know. But
I'm sorry, I phrased that wrong. They didn't have another person that they were necessarily with during that time.
who?
Shane Austin didn't.
Shane Austin was by himself. Correct.
Never did.
All right, we're gonna take a lunch recess, take 1 hour for lunch, follow the admonitions that I gave you yesterday.
Okay, everybody. We are going to head on to day 8, part 2. Boy. Yeah. And Debbie, if you have the link for that juror interview to save me time, that would be fantastic, because I would love to be able to play that, much like we did at the end of the Raoul Valley trial. We heard from actually the jury foreman in that case. So yeah, if y'all have anything like that, send it to me. That will save me some angst in trying to locate it. And I did not know that Terry Dykes wrote a book. I have too much to do. I'm trying to listen to Lauren Conlin's podcast on Grant Solomon. I need to listen to Defense Diaries, Bob Mata well, I guess it's primarily Bob that did Buried, the podcast. And now I have to read Jodine Weber's book still. And now I have to read Terry Dykes' book. I need like a week off just so I can do all of that. So, alrighty, are we ready for the next part? We will not get through all of this. My hope is to get through the first 50 minutes of it. Yes, Serenity, none of us have. And yes, Buried, I'm very excited, but I'm one of those bingers. So once I start it, I don't want to have to wait for episodes. So I'm waiting until it's all out there and then I'm just going to bang, 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 bang. So yeah, I don't even know if they know who I am, but yes, I rather like Bob and Allie as well. Here we go.
All right. Given the context, you're taking pretty good care of you, aren't they? Very well. All right. I know the sheriff and his staff have gone out of their way. They realize that this is hardship, but they're doing what they can to make it as pleasant as possible. So, all right. I commend he and his staff. Let's call our next witness.
We need to flippity flip here. Yeah, Zach looks good there. He ended up thinning way down in prison. So good grief. Oh, I remember him. I remember him in the post-conviction relief
G for
hearings.
Gregory, last name Viveros, V as in Victor, I, V as in Victor, E-R-O-S.
Oh, yes.
How are you employed back in April of 2011?
I was a special agent with the FBI.
Okay, and were you involved in the disappearance of Holly Bobo?
Yes, I was.
And what role did you take in that case?
I was the case agent for the FBI,
Okay.
the lead agent
Lead agent?
for the FBI.
Okay. And did you participate in the investigation of Terry Britt?
Yes,
Okay. And did you participate in the search of his house?
yes.
Okay. And what significant items did you take note of in the search of Mr. Britt's house?
Well, there were numerous things. I don't have any documents. It's totally off the top of my head.
Sure.
They vacuumed the vehicles. Our forensic people, team, ERT people, evidence response team went out there, vacuumed the vehicles for hairs and fibers. We entered all the buildings. The TBI, am I speaking for the TBI? Because they took the evidence. We did certain things.
How
They took
discriminatory,
other things, and like I
Kelly.
said, that's my memory.
Just what was significant to you?
Because it was their search warrant. We helped them.
Right, but like let's talk about the tools. I think earlier you mentioned something about tools when we were talking. So what do you mean?
Again, it's by memory. We had a cadaver dog team go out there from the academy from Quantico, and they did hit on some tools, some shovels. They also hit on some of the one of the vans, and there was
The
a
van.
blonde hair found in one of the vans.
The white van, blonde
And,
hair in the white van.
They seized even a ponytail that belonged to Terry Britt. He used to have a ponytail, long hair.
Interesting.
I think the TBI sees also a receipt from the safe that Janet Britt opened for us. A receipt when they purchased a bathtub enclosure. They took, of course, pictures. Well, I mean, they photographed and videotaped, I believe, if I remember correctly. That's standard practice.
Okay. And did you participate in the wiretap and the recordings of the home and the telephones?
Yes, I did.
Okay. And when you were listening to that, was there anything significant that came that you heard while you were listening, especially about him knowing whether or not he was being recorded?
Of course, I don't know the date. I just remember his sister called him on his landline. And of course, I can't remember her name, but they talked about, she warned him, I think she warned him not to speak on the phone because the police might be tapping the line, said something to the effect, yeah, I know.
This is what he said.
I'm listening to them speak to each other on the landline.
Right.
And he says, yes, I know, and these, excuse my language, he said, these whores, law enforcement, are going to try to pin this Holly Bobo case on me. And so we're going to have to watch it. And then the sister said something about, you remember when Mom and I burglarized those homes way back, whatever, the police did something to them to get them charged, and they were kind of arguing back and forth. And that's all I can really remember about it. I think it was like a 10-minute call.
What about him knowing that they were recording him
Well, he said that, yeah, I agree with you. Yes, I agree with you that there probably are these, like I said, he said, these whores, law enforcement are trying to pin this thing on me, and they'll probably do something like that. But they kept on talking, like they didn't care, even though they spoke about it.
Okay. And were you involved at all in the investigation of other suspects in this case?
What do you mean by others?
Well, I
There were
mean-
numerous people from the very beginning.
Okay, will you just explain a little bit about that to the jury?
You mean name names?
No, but just how extensive the investigation was, and what kind of evidence you had in the beginning to go over.
Well, we didn't seize any evidence. We ended up helping the TBI.
Right.
So they seized all the evidence at the house. So whatever evidence there is, they have. I ended up doing some interviews with Brent Booth of Clint, day one, and of Drew Scott, the boyfriend, day one there outside the house. Then James Barnes, the neighbor, Kathy Wise, his mother, lived next door. There were numerous early suspects. And then we kind of moved on to others. And Brent Booth and I went and interviewed Terry Britt like a week after the event, because we're trying to catch up with all the sex offenders and get a interview of them, an official interview.
And at some point, did you determine that he had lied about his alibi?
Lied about his alibi?
Yes. The timing and everything about his
Well,
alibi?
I would have to look at my FD 302, that interview, but I want to say that, I'm just at the top of my head. He gave us a different time, and I'm just trying to remember that. I don't have that 302 in front of me, but I heard something on that
What, 302?
FD 302, sorry,
FD.
a federal document 302, what we call an interview.
But she's taking in what we say. Sometimes not just you, but we get into acronyms or
Yes, sir.
document numbers and stuff.
So
Trying to make sure
all
I
interviews are
read
done
that.
on an FD 302. All interviews, no matter
Just
what it
explain
is.
to the jury what a 302 would be.
It's a interview report, federal document FD 302. All interviews are done on that document.
You mean a report,
A report, interview report, period.
and that's.
I was
It's
afraid
always been
that
that way for decades. FD 302, we call it.
judge attorney was going to give us another
302 on your-
legal.
and then Terry Brown.
Terry Britt. And again, I don't have that document, but I can't remember the exact times. But I just remember when we talked to him, Terry Britt insisted that he contact his wife, Janet, who was working at the newspaper, and she came out quickly. And she came to the house and right away, went to the safe and got that receipt. And they talked about how they went to get the tub that morning.
And
And then later on, after that phone call, that same day we were talking about that phone call, I heard also that same time, after he hung up, I heard on the microphone that was installed inside the trailer. I heard Terry Britt say to Janet Britt, I recognize the voices. And he said that, again, they're going to hang this whores, law enforcement, are going to hang this case, Holly Bobo case on me.
Okay.
He says, I didn't even know who, excuse my language, the bitch was, Holly, who the bitch was. And he says, I can't remember what we did that day. And then Janet spoke up and says, we left the house about 10:30. We went to Camden. We bought that tub. And he says, oh yeah, I remember that old man sold us a $300 tub for $150. Then we went to Decaturville, came back to the house by 1. And that, that's son of a bitch cop came by and talked to me, asked me what I was doing that day.
Okay, so they were clearly repeating an alibi over in the house.
Yes, I heard it on the microphone.
And this is after they had acknowledged that they thought they were being recorded.
Yes, after they hung up. But the problem with that recording, that it was not recorded electronically, because apparently the phone call I think was, but the microphone was not recorded because I think there was a technical glitch where the microphone wasn't plugged in correctly, and there's not a recording, but there's a note that I made generally about what they said, but not in great detail, because I didn't want to go against the recording, because I only heard it one time, so I didn't want it to conflict.
So, but what you're saying is you could hear it, but it wasn't preserved.
Right. But I believe I did, and once I heard it wasn't preserved electronically, I'm pretty sure I did an FD 302 about what I could remember with what I heard on the microphone. So I'm pretty sure there's 1 in 5. Pretty sure.
And no further questions.
Ross,
So you're aware that the blonde hair that was found was sent to the FBI, up to the laboratory?
Yes, sir.
Prepared DNA, it was not
Your
Holly
Honor,
Bobo's.
I'm going to object to this,
you can ask if he's aware of that. We went through this earlier.
but I think that's misleading as to what the report was, because they didn't test the DNA, they tested the mitochondrial DNA, and it came back.
He can ask the question.
Are you aware?
Yes, sir. It was not a DNA match. It was a microscopic match. She compared her hair, her known hair, from her brush and the hair there, and she said it wasn't a DNA match.
Exactly.
Yes.
Looked at it and saw whether or not it had similar characteristics like
Yes.
color and stuff like that.
Yes.
But then they actually did a DNA analysis and not.
Yeah. See,
You talked about this little conversation that you heard. It was first on the phone, and it was over the phone that either the sister or whoever said something about phones may be recorded or something like that. Is
Yes.
that correct? And it was after that phone call was hung up that you heard Mr. Britt and Miss Britt talk.
yes, Janet Britt.
Did Mr. Britt or Janet Britt ever say anything like, I wonder if our house is bugged.
No, there's never any kind of mention of that. I think they had no idea whatsoever.
Just about phones, no idea. Just one final thing. Did you have a case in
Interesting.
this investigation to speak with Dylan Adams?
Yes, I did in December 2011.
Right, I'm not asking you what Dylan Adams said, but did anything unusual happen while you were talking to Dylan Adams?
I was sitting in my car at their house, and I was just wrapping up the interview of Dylan, and Zach drives up, and he sees me there, and as soon as I'm law enforcement, he gets out of the car and starts yelling at me, get the fuck out of here, and identify myself. He said, yeah, you get, I left my car, and so I said, I'm leaving my car here. I just spoke to your brother, and he said, yeah, we'll get the F out of here. So I just left.
Pass you the document. To be clear, when Terry Britt is talking to his sister on the phone, they do talk about the fact that the house is potentially bugged.
I can't remember if they said the phone's tapped.
Okay.
I think they referred to the phone. I don't remember.
If I had a document, is there a document that might help refresh your memory?
Yes, yes.
You pass forward this document to you. See if you recognize any reading glasses. I do.
Okay. And it's all in the highlighted section.
Yes, you just review that, see if it refreshes your memory.
We're going to flippity flip while he's refreshing.
Say if it's mine or not, to tell you the truth.
Does that refresh your memory though as to whether or not they thought that the house might also be bugged?
I don't remember the house being bugged, but definitely the phones. And like I said, I remember filling out a document for the TBI to summarize the call, but there aren't any initials, so I can't positively identify it as being mine or not.
I'm just asking if it helps you remember them talking about the house being bugged.
I think he has stated a couple of times. That's one more.
But I do remember the conversation, but I don't know if it's this sound conversation or not.
Okay, and what is the date that's documented there?
We talked about the document you guys recognize and doesn't know about.
He's not authenticated this document.
Shut up, whispering rocks. What
I
the
would
heck?
have to study the document for a little bit, and just
Okay.
because it says January 18th, 2012, and I do remember the wire was going on then. That sounds about right.
Yes.
But I just can't remember the shift I was on, that kind of
And
thing.
I mean, you're clearly, you want to be crystal clear.
Yes, I can't speak about it if I haven't got my initials on it, if I don't recognize it exactly. But I do remember they talked about the phone being bugged or not, but they kept on speaking about it.
Okay.
But I can't say this is the right document or not.
Very good. No further questions.
Yeah. All right, you step down, you're free to go, sir.
All right, sir, thank
you. Are you next?
Hey, Barella.
All right, I'm going to flippity flip some more here while they get their act together in the courtroom.
Where the testimony you're about to give is the truth, the whole.
Barella, that's B.
Yes, sir. Be seated, state your name, first and last, and spell it in the court recorder.
David Barella, that's Barela.
Mr. Barella, how are you employed presently?
I'm a private investigator.
Did you have law enforcement experience in your past?
Yes, sir. I'm a former special agent with the United States Army Criminal Investigation Command.
Did you have occasion to measure different calibers of bullets and do a photo lineup type thing?
Yes, sir.
Can I hand you some documents, see if you identify, if you remember them?
Yes, sir, I do.
Are these a fair and accurate representation of the documents you created or printed out?
Yes, sir.
All right, move these into the next two numbered exhibits.
All right, there's three of them,
Yes, sir.
28, 29, and 30.
Mr. Gonzalez, can you just leave the table?
32 is 220. The 380 is 220. If you look over your left shoulder there.
Yeah.
If you look over your left shoulder there, is this a document you just reviewed?
Yes, sir.
What is this?
That's a 32 caliber.
Why don't you identify your two? Is it 228?
228, yes, all right. Go ahead.
It's a 32 caliber bullet round.
And you see the bullet diameter listed on here?
Yes, sir. It's a .125 inches.
Can you look at it again?
I'm sorry, .3125 inches.
That's what I said earlier.
229. What is this?
That's a 380.
And what's the diameter of the 380?
The diameter of that is .355 inches.
That's what I said.
230. What is this?
This is a lineup of photographs that I submitted.
Did you do this lineup?
Yes, sir, I did.
And those annotations at the bottom of each bullet, did you do those?
Yes, sir, I did.
And where did you get the diameters that are measured there?
I used a digital caliper that I measured each round, and then I documented that information onto the photograph.
And where did you measure on the round?
They were right above the casing, as close as I could to the top of the casing.
So like right here where the actual bullet meets the casing,
Yes, sir.
you measured it with the caliper.
Yes, sir.
Now, you have both millimeters and inches on there, it looks like.
Yes, sir.
How did you go from one to the other?
The calipers I was using was digital, and all I did was hit a button, and it went from what I was reading in millimeters to inches. And I recorded that information on it.
And as to the 32, did you measure more than just one bullet?
Yes, sir.
And did it vary at all?
Yes, sir.
I'm looking for my bullet notes.
Minuscule amounts, but they still vary just a little bit.
That's all I have.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, ma'am.
Just to be clear, you're not an expert in ballistics, is that right?
That is correct.
And if I,
I think you want to climb it back up.
He's an expert in measuring.
Correct.
you are correct.
I bet I could measure. I don't know one caliber from another.
Back on the
Not
screen,
that good.
Exhibit 230, the lineup. If I heard you correctly, Mr. Rowland, you said that you measured the diameter as close as you could to the top of the casing, is that correct?
Right at the top of the casing, measuring the bullet itself.
And these other two documents that have been put into evidence through you, these are more, I guess, what the manufacturer
Yes, ma'am.
would say that the diameter is of the various ranks,
Yes,
correct?
ma'am.
So you grow my glasses. So for instance, on the 32, which is third from the left, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
If we go to one of the two previous exhibits, according to the manufacturer, it's supposed to be a 0.3125, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
And what did you say you measured?
I
In
measured
inches?
a .005 on that particular round.
And that's because, and this, I read your box at the bottom, this is ammunition you had on hand, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
And that's because you measured it at the top.
Right at the edge of the casing where the casing meets the actual bullet.
And if I told you that an expert in forensics and ballistics said that to get an accurate measurement, if you look over your left shoulder, you have to remove the projectile from the casing and measure at the bottom. Would that surprise you?
No, ma'am, it would not.
Objection, what he's surprised at is not relevant.
It's just projection on the road.
What?
So it wouldn't surprise you. Would you also agree with me that when a person fires a weapon and the projectile goes forward, and in a revolver, the casing does it, correct?
Correct.
Calling for opinion testimony.
You can say that.
And so
Keep objecting, Gonzalez.
what hits the object, if it hits something, would be a different, if it goes through something, that would be a different measurement than when you actually measure something inside of that casing, correct?
I'm assuming it would be because of the rifling in the barrel would change things a little bit.
The rifling would change it, and the fact that to fit inside something, it's gotta be smaller. That's why it's called a casing. So what's inside would be slightly smaller than what's holding it. Does that make sense?
Yes, ma'am. I'm not an engineer, ma'am.
Right. So that might account for
I just measure.
the variance in what the manufacturer said the diameter of a caliber is and what you measured when you measured at the top of the casing, correct?
Correct.
All right, thank you.
I
You're an
measure
expert in how
You're
a bullet acts when it leaves the barrel.
twit.
No, sir.
Do you know about the effect that the length of a barrel has on how the bullet is stabilized once it leaves the barrel?
I'm not an expert at that, sir.
Are you an expert in the gyroscopic technique of twisting the bullet or rifling to stabilize it as it leaves the barrel?
No, sir. I'm not an expert at that.
Are you familiar with ballistics or engineering on how a bullet acts as it goes through the air per a given distance?
Not as an expert, no, sir.
Okay, so when she's asking you about what that bullet does after it leaves the gun, it was just speculation on your part, wasn't it?
From a layman's term, correct.
No further questions.
All right. Step down, you're free to go. Thank you, Secretary. Call your next. First up, you got it. Please state your first and last name, spell it for the court reporter.
No, I don't.
Travis Donovan, Travis Dunavant.
Mr. Donovan, how are you currently employed?
Through Decatur County Sheriff's Office.
And how were you employed on April the 13th, 2011?
Through Decatur County Corrections, through the jail.
And that's still with the Sheriff's Department?
Yes, sir.
right?
Ma'am,
No problem.
sorry.
Okay, and on April the 13th, you were called into duty regarding the disappearance of Holly Bobo, weren't you?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, and you made a report on that day, or you
Yes,
made a
ma'am.
report regarding that day?
Yes, ma'am.
And what was it that you were asked to do on that day?
I'm not sure. I'm going to have to review the report.
Would reviewing the report help you
Yes, ma'am.
remember?
I didn't catch his name, but he's a corrections officer. So we're going to go with that. And I'm going to flippity flip while he's refreshing away. That's a lot of refreshing.
Yes, ma'am.
Were you asked to check on sex offenders on that day?
Yes, ma'am.
And did you in fact go to Jeanette Holiday Road?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, and so who did you check on Jeanette Holiday Road?
Jeanette Holiday Road would be Mr. Britt's.
Okay, Okay, and was anyone home? What address does it say that Mr. Rick?
3138 Jeanette Holiday Road.
Okay, and does it say whether or not anybody was home at that time?
There was nobody at home.
And what does it say about cars that were there?
A red broken down van.
Were there other cars noted there?
No, ma'am.
Was that part of what you were asked to do was go around and note what cars were at each residence?
Yes, ma'am.
And does it say what time it was that you were there?
Not on Mr. Britt's.
So you visited somebody else on that same road.
Yes, ma'am. Mr. Christensen,
So Mr. Christensen, what time were you at his house?
1340, 140
So 1:40?
p.m.
Okay, and what's his address? Is it 2800
Holiday Road.
Jeanette Holiday Road?
Holiday Road. 2800 Holiday Road. There's a difference between Holiday Road and Jeanette Holiday Road.
Okay, so that happens to say Holiday Road.
Yes, ma'am.
So you can extrapolate then, can you, what time you think you would have been to the next location?
Probably 15 minutes delay.
Okay, very good. I'll just take that back.
Did anybody catch what day she's
When
talking
you
about?
got to 3138 Jeanette Holiday Road,
I didn't catch
knock on
the
door,
day.
Sergeant Rocker did.
and you were present with Sergeant Riker.
Yes, ma'am.
And did anybody answer the door?
No, ma'am.
Did you hear anybody moving around inside?
No, ma'am.
Okay, no further questions.
Well, all right, just sit down before you go. Are you next?
I feel like it must have been April 13th because those times coincide with what the other testimony has been. But that was really not very clear for me. I don't know who we have now coming in.
Tell us what- tell us the truth, is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing.
Oh, this must be Dick Adams, I'll bet.
Your first and last name, tell us the truth, the court reporter.
John D. Adams,
And will you spell your name, please? Spell your name, please.
JOHN,
And do people call you Dick? Do you go by Dick?
That's right.
And Mr. Adams, how are you related to Zach Adams?
It's my grandson,
Where do you live?
next door to me.
Where do you live?
Oh, I live at 260 Adams Lane,
Okay, and where did Zachary Adams live?
235 Adams Lane.
Okay. And does your house have a basement?
No,
And what about that Mr. Adams' house? Does it
No.
have a basement?
No.
And on April the 13th, 2011, the day Holly Bobo disappeared, who lived with you at your house?
Dylan Adams,
Okay, and who is Dylan Adams related? How is he related to you?
he's my grandson,
Okay, and how is he related to Zachary Adams?
he's his brother.
Okay. Let me ask you about guns. At any time around April 2011, did you know of Zach Adams to own a 32 revolver?
No,
Okay. And at that time, around April 2011, did you own a 32 revolver?
no,
Have you owned one since that time?
no,
Now, let me ask you about a well on your property. At one time, did 260 and 235 Adams Lane have a well?
have a what?
A well, a water well?
Yes, yes,
Okay. And when was that?
in 88, we discontinued in 88.
Okay, and what did you do with the well? Why did you discontinue it?
We got city water,
Okay. And what did you do with the well once you discontinued it?
I filled it in.
Okay. So it's not a well that's a hole anymore?
No,
Okay. And in April of 2011, who was it that was living with Zachary Adams? Was anybody living with him?
Rebecca Earp lived with him at some time in there, I don't exactly know when,
Okay. And how was she related to Zachary Adams?
girlfriend.
Okay. Since Mr. Adams is your son, or grandson, do you happen to know what size shoe he wears?
13,
A 13.
Woo.
And do you have
Big feet.
Did you come into possession of Croc shoes that belong to Mr. Adams?
did I?
Croc shoes.
Crocs, man. This is 2011. Crocs.
Let me pass these shoes up to you. At any time, did you pick up some shoes from the Williamson County Jail for Mr. Adams?
I did,
And are those the shoes that you picked up from the Williamson County Jail?
looks like,
And what size are those shoes? If you turn them over, what size do they say they are?
it says 13.
13. Your Honor, we'd like to put those into evidence.
They will be admitted into evidence as 231, but later a photo will be substituted.
Yes, Your Honor.
I mean, it's kind of like the big boards. Once we finish this case, photos will be substituted for all these faulty items.
Yes.
Okay.
And can you tell me what your cellular telephone number was in April of 2011?
Do I?
What was your cell phone number in April of 2011?
My telephone
Do
number,
what?
Yes,
home or cell?
cell.
549-5002,
Okay, and what about your home number back then?
847-6566.
Okay.
The oldest
And
man
did you provide a
testifying, and he
cellular telephone to your
remembers
grandson, Zach Adams?
his
Yeah,
telephone
I
numbers.
did.
And do you remember back in April of 2011, was it a flip phone?
I don't know what kind of phone it was.
Do you remember at some point turning over Dylan's flip phone to Brent Booth with the TBI?
I think he picked it up at the office. I'm not sure. And they also picked some up at my house, I think. I'm not sure.
Okay, but you remember turning some telephones over to them?
Yeah.
Okay. I want to ask you some questions about your grandson Dylan now. Now, Dylan, was he in special education when he was in school?
He was.
Okay, and why was he in special education?
He had a learning problem.
Okay, and does he have a high or a low IQ?
It's below average.
Okay, and are there certain things that Dylan cannot do in day-to-day life?
Yes.
What are those things?
Well, if he had a watch, he had to have a digital watch. He couldn't tell time.
Okay, can't tell time. What else?
He was bad to tell you a story too.
Okay, so does that mean he's not clear sometimes on facts? And
Right.
Oh.
What about money? Who handles his money?
Do I?
Who handles Dylan Adams' money?
I guess I did.
Do
Okay.
what?
Is there a reason that Dylan lived with you?
So
He
Southern.
lived with me.
Why?
I missed
Why
that.
was he living with you? Why didn't he have his own place?
Well, he lived with his mama till he was 18, then he moved in the house with me.
Right. Why didn't he go out and get his own apartment?
I don't know.
Well, was it related to the fact that he had a learning disability?
Yeah, and he wouldn't hold a job.
Okay.
Mm.
Let me ask you about Dennis Benjamin. Are you familiar with a man named Dennis Benjamin?
Oh, Dennis
I just knew
Benjamin.
of him. He was a customer of ours on our water.
So when you say customer, you mean he's a water customer?
Yes.
Okay. And is he a close friend of the family?
No.
Is he a person that Dylan would have known or been close to?
I wouldn't think so.
I want to ask you also about your wife, Becky Adams. Can you please tell the jury when she died?
Do I?
When she died? When did Becky Adams die?
The last day of March.
It's right before all this
Last day of
happened.
March. On Friday night. Was buried the 2nd.
She was buried on what day?
2nd of April,
April 2nd. And what year is that?
2010.
Okay. And then your
2011.
grandson Zach, he was arrested shortly thereafter. Do you remember when he was arrested?
2000. It's on the 4th, wasn't it?
Okay.
4th or 5th?
So April 4th, 2000, what year? Same year,
2010, yes.
11. If your wife died in 11, he was arrested in
He
2011.
actually testified in 2010.
I'm sorry, what year did your wife die?
2010?
Are you certain she died in 2010?
She did.
2010 or 2011? I don't know.
Do you know, in relation to when Holly
Oh,
Bobo
my.
disappeared, was
That was
it,
2010, wasn't it?
well, if Holly Bobo disappeared in 2011, did your
Okay,
wife,
11.
so your wife died close in
2011.
time to the time Holly Bobo disappeared?
Just a few days before.
Okay, very good.
That's why Zach was doing so
so
many
when,
drugs.
Zach Adams was arrested. Do you remember, if he's arrested on April 4th, do you remember where he was arrested?
The way I understood in Natchez Trace Park,
Okay, and the car that he was driving, do you remember what car he happened to be driving when he was arrested on the
he
4th?
was driving my pickup,
And what kind of pickup was that?
a Nissan,
What color was it?
white,
And what year was it?
98.
Okay, 98 white Nissan. Let me just see if I can pass you forward.
Uh-huh. Grandpa's truck. Zach didn't have a truck.
I'd like to pass you forward. This is a copy, not the original, of a certificate of title. Do you recognize what that's entitled to?
I do.
What is that entitled to?
Do I?
What is it entitled to?
Me?
To what? No. What car does it belong to?
Oh, that belongs to the 98 Nissan.
Oh, he's so
I'd like to
funny.
take this exhibit here.
I love it.
You do. So after he was arrested in your pickup truck, what did you do with that truck?
I went and picked it up at a towing service, brought it back to Betty Bell's house and put it in the shed.
Betty Bales. Betty Bell's house and put it in the shed.
That's where I picked it up.
So that's a tow receipt.
Yeah.
From where and did you pay to get the car?
Yes,
You, the one that paid the money?
yes.
Okay. And now, how long was it there at, is it Don's Towing?
Don's body shop.
And how long was it there for?
I really don't know. Somebody called me, and I believe they said if I picked it up within 3 days, it wouldn't be a late charge.
Okay, no objection. So we-
Shut up, Jennifer.
Late fee.
Okay, and so is there a late fee that's?
No,
on that?
no.
Okay, so, you want me this time, I'd like to put this
All right,
receipt
Exhibit 233.
on that it was totally on your breast, is that right?
Yes,
And, had it, and you said you took it to Billy Bell's mother's house?
Billy Bell's mother, yes.
Okay, now who is Billy Bell?
Billy Bell.
Who is Billy Bell?
Yes. Explain to the jury, please, who Billy Bell is.
Well, he's a friend of mine, and he works with me.
Okay. And who is his mother? What's her name?
Betty,
And why did you
Oh,
take it to his
what's
mother's
Betty?
house?
she's the one carried me up there to get it.
Okay.
She was a friend of the family.
She
okay.
carried him
She
up
drove you
there.
Over to, where was it originally towed to? What city?
Lexington.
So she drove you over there. And why would you not just bring it back home?
Well, I didn't want to have it there where I'd have to, he'd want to drive it again. He wasn't supposed to be driving it.
Why was he not supposed to be driving?
He didn't have a
Oh,
driver's license.
Ah, so you didn't want him to drive it. And so who had the keys to this car?
He did at that time. And when he went anywhere in it, his girlfriend or somebody drove it.
No, but let's go back to the white truck. When you picked up the truck from the tow lot, where were the keys to the truck?
They were in it.
Okay, and whose keys were those? Were those your keys or were those
There wasn't
Zachary's
one
keys?
set.
Okay, one set of keys.
Right.
They were in the truck. And you picked up the truck, you drove it to Billy Bell's mother's house. What did you do with the keys then?
I carried them home with me.
How do you know that Zachary Adams didn't go into your house and get those keys at some point?
I don't know. I know he did. I had them.
Yes.
So he'd had to take them away from me.
Okay, so you kept them on you so that he couldn't get the truck.
Right.
And you know that he didn't at any point take those keys away from your person.
Right.
Okay. And so how long did the truck stay there?
I'd say nearly 2 weeks.
And
2
And
weeks.
so during that time, did he know where the truck was?
Who?
Did Zachary Adams know where the truck
No.
was? What did you tell him about the truck?
I don't remember him asking me.
2 weeks. And he was arrested, what was it, April 4th?
No, on April the 13th, 2011, were there other cars at your house for Zachary Adams to drive?
Other cars
Yes. What cars did you personally own?
on the van.
A van?
Yes,
And who drove that van?
I did.
Okay. What else did you own?
That was all I owned.
And what about Zach? Did he own any other cars?
He had 2 trucks sitting there.
Okay.
Both of them one of them was tore up, the other was wrecked.
Okay, so which one was wrecked?
An 03 Chevrolet.
Okay, and when did it get wrecked?
I'm not sure.
Was it before or
Or
after?
before, yes.
Okay. And who wrecked it?
Exactly.
Okay. And was it wrecked just days before or was it wrecked significant time before?
No, it's wrecked weeks before.
Okay. And then what was the other car that was there?
It was a 2094 Nissan.
2094?
I mean, a 94 Nissan.
Okay.
Four-wheel drive truck. Had a radiator busted or something on it.
How did the radiator get busted?
I think he running in a treetop.
What do you mean,
Williams.
a treetop?
Huh?
What does that mean? He ran into a treetop
Well, it punctured the radiator.
with a tree branch? Is that what you're saying? Okay.
Treetop.
And
He's real
what
country.
about Dylan, what kind of truck did Dylan have?
Dylan had a 2006 Silverado pickup, skid cab.
Okay. And who had the keys to that truck?
Dylan,
So if Zachary would have wanted to have driven that truck, who would he have had to have gotten the keys from?
if he'd what?
If he were going to drive Dylan's truck, who would he have needed to get the keys from to
From
drive
Dylan?
it? Okay. And did Dylan make it a regular habit to loan Zach his truck?
He wasn't in the habit of it, no.
And on April the 13th, the day that Holly Bobo disappeared, do you remember what time you left for work that day?
It was Robert 7 to 7:30.
Okay. And where was Dylan that morning when you left for work?
He was in the bed.
Okay. And the bed at your house?
Right.
Okay. And that morning, did you happen to see Zach, Dylan, and Shane on April the 13th, 2011, the day
I
that
did.
Holly disappeared?
I did.
Where did you see them?
It was on 641 highway. They'd come across the interstate, headed south.
Okay. And where were you at that time?
I was there. I don't remember where I was coming out from the Shell station or I was there at the Shell station. I might have been turning in or coming out.
Okay. But how do you specifically remember it so many years later? Did you have anything that helped you with your memory?
Yes, I did.
What was that?
Shane, name had already been thrown out
Okay, but no, but I'm saying that day, how did you remember where you were and what you were doing that day?
because, like I said, his name had already been thrown out. I'd heard a lot about her disappearance. His name had been thrown out, and I seen him in the truck with them.
Okay. And so the way you remembered it is just stuck in your head. Is that what you're saying?
Yes,
Did you also keep a log at that time?
I did.
Okay. Do you still keep a log?
Do.
Do you still keep a log
do.
of what you do? And it's kind of a daily diary.
That's it.
And what do you record in your log?
Usually what we do that day.
And by what you do, you mean?
What
Wow.
we do, if we fix a leak, check meters, whatever we do that day.
What are we doing? What's happening?
Or Nissan truck.
Flippity flip time.
While she's looking at that, let me ask you, what color was that 94 Nissan truck that you had?
There was two there. There was black.
So,
One was regular cab and one was extended cab.
okay, but one of them was white. The 98 was white,
What's white?
and it was a Nissan.
Yes,
And then the 94 was black.
black.
It was
That belonged to Zach.
okay, and it was a Nissan.
The other Nissan was a regular cab. I bought it for Dylan. It never did run.
Okay. Can I have my page back on the phone? Now that diary page doesn't specifically mention anything about seeing Zach Adams that day, does it?
What?
That diary page doesn't specifically mention that you saw Zach Adams on the highway that day.
No.
Okay. And can you read it to us? What does it say?
The rest of it?
Yeah, what does the diary say?
Well, it said we met Doug and Ziegler at Ziegler's house to fix the blow off where the county had hit it with a bush hog. Turned water on for Smith property, meter covered up. Just business is what I kept on the log.
Okay, but it's through that it jogged your memory where you were that day when you saw Zach Adams. Is that right?
Yeah.
Okay. Because you were actually going from one job to another.
Oh, yes.
And Your Honor, at this time, I'd like to have that mark.
234.
For the years, you allowed various people to come in and search your property for Holly, didn't you?
Sure.
And you don't have any facts that that you know of that would point to Zach Adams being involved in this kidnapping, do you?
No.
If you had known facts that led to Zach Adams being involved, would you have told?
I believe I would.
No further questions.
Okay, everybody. This looks like an excellent place for us to stop. We are right on track for what I had scheduled. So we will pick up tomorrow night with the cross-examination of Zach Adams' grandfather. And then we will start the final day of testimony tomorrow as well. Day 9, part 1, will start tomorrow night. Then of course, we're skipping Friday because Mr. Demeanor's work Christmas party. And then Saturday morning, I'm debating I may not start that live stream until 9 a.m. just because Miss Demeanor needs to get a little bit of beauty rest. I might have been out partying at that Christmas party the night before and need to sleep in a scoshy bit. So we will finish. I think my timing is correct that we'll be able to finish the trial on Saturday. And I know we talked a little bit about Festivus. And should we have a Festivus stream? Festivus happens on December 23rd. And that is where, if you are unfamiliar with Seinfeld and what Festivus is, my condolences to you. But the next thing I'm going to say is that I think we should have a Festivus stream that we can air some grievances. Maybe we will watch some of the post-conviction relief hearing that night and we have a jolly old time. Y'all can let me know if that's something you're interested in. Send me a comment in the comments for this stream or any others. Actually, it doesn't matter. Or you can send me an email, all the different ways. So I think based on some of the egregious things that I have watched in trials this year, I go all the way back to Robert Tellis in Nevada, that I may have some grievances that I need to air. And so we should do that. Bring your Festivus poll and all of your grievances that you need to air. And we shall air the grievances on our Festivus celebration. So I looked up Terry Dykes's book. I don't even know if they have anything available, but I found a website called, what is this thing? leftbank.com it says email or call for availability and pricing. That's really the closest I could get. I am going to check my own local library to see if they have something like this there, and I'll keep doing some digging. If I can find it, then I will put a link in the show description, the stream description for tonight, so that you all can find that, because I'm here for it. And I'm so glad when we watched the post-conviction relief hearings, I skipped over Terry Dykes. If you all remember, I said, oh, he's just the investigator. I don't think there's anything. There's so much other stuff for us to cover. And so we didn't really didn't view like anything from his testimony in the post-conviction relief hearings. So that will definitely be something we'll be doing once we're done with this replay. So I popped it in partway through and told you to do the like and subscribe tubes of you thing that you need to do. Make sure you're following me on all the other socials. And at this time, I think it's time for me to get some beauty sleep. Just feeling a little haggard, I am. So you all know it doesn't cost a penny to be kind. So find someone to be nice to today if you haven't already. And as always,